604 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running, ready to get your week started, kicking you off to start this Monday, crushing another week, starting off at 70 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Brian here with you, JP producing. As we do on a Monday, we're all over the map. We'll give you the full rundown in just a little bit, but I do want to tease. But right now, half an hour from now, Bill O'Reilly. All right, you know how we do. Let's start off with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
A vigil was held for the remembrance of Charlie Kirk in the LSU Union Theater Friday night. Packed house to hear numerous speakers and to view a video of Kirk's life. A number of prayers offered up as well. Governor Jeff Landry, Speaker Mike Johnson, they were among those who spoke.
Number 4.
Bullet casings were found next to a car with a damaged windshield at the LSU Law Center after a fight on Saturday night, according to BRPD. Officers responded to a shots fired call at the Law Center just after 8 p.m. during the LSU-Florida football game. 2 people were detained, but were determined not to be involved in the incident, so the investigation continues.
Number 3.
A 27-year-old was shot to death while intervening in an argument on Saturday night. BRPD said this happened around 7:45 p.m. Jeray Washington was found shot at the Sycamore Apartments on North Foster Drive, taken to a hospital where he died. Police say Washington was trying to break up an argument and was shot when he intervened. Officers are looking for Treviante DeQuan Simpson, the person they believe is responsible for Washington's death.
Number 2.
Back to Saturday night on campus, a man was arrested after fighting with a security guard and pushing a deputy during LSU's game against Florida. Arrest documents say 23-year-old Jeffrey Rogers was in Section 104 with a group of friends who were all in a heated argument with an allied security worker. EBR Sheriff's Office said a deputy went to the commotion and attempted to de-escalate the issue by sending the security guard down the stairs. Documents say Rogers went after the guard, pushing the deputy out of the way. After the scuffle, Rogers was handcuffed, booked into the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison for battery of an officer.
Number 1.
The Trump administration has a plan ready that would send 1,000 National Guard troops to Baton Rouge and New Orleans, according to the Washington Post. The plan, confirmed by the Pentagon, would have the National Guard troops support law enforcement in Louisiana's urban centers, but hinges on a formal request from Governor Landry, who has been vocal about being in favor of that idea before. What you got, JP?
Well, Charlie Kirk's work will carry on. Charlie's widow, Erica, says the college tours, the podcast, and the radio show will continue.
Man, it's always hard after the personality-driven leader steps aside, either voluntarily or is assassinated. It is always hard to maintain momentum in the wake of that, to try and replicate what was. I'll give you a great example here.
Indeed.
No one has filled the talk radio void that was left by Rush Limbaugh.
There you go. Yeah.
And hundreds have tried. Hundreds have tried to replicate it. I sincerely hope that wherever Turning Point goes, wherever this Turning Point leads them, they don't try to do Charlie Kirk 2.0. Because you can't replicate his compassion. You can't replicate his style. Like, South Park can make a cartoon that is a perfect parody, or a perfect what's the word I'm looking for?
I know.
Caricature.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can't, I don't want to see somebody acting like Charlie Kirk. I want whoever the next person is to be themselves. You can head up Turning Point USA, absolutely.
That's right.
But don't try to out Charlie in the wake of Charlie's brutal assassination.
That's right. And we may even see it come to LSU, right? If they continue on with that tour, right?
We've got more on that, hopefully, as the week wears on.
Okay.
Yes, if the tour continues, there was a scheduled date in late October. There's also a women's event coming up in earlier in October. But it's all too soon right now to know what is going to remain or what is going to come to fruition. That is on my call sheet for after the show.
All right. Sounds good. In other news, Stephen Colbert was a crowd favorite at the Emmys last night, getting a standing ovation as the presenter.
Yeah, I didn't watch the Emmys.
No, but
Don't
what
mind telling you.
But what I'm reading, I mean, yeah, he jokingly asked if they were hiring. So I just think that's funny and in good spirits.
So say what you will about Colbert, he does not take himself too seriously.
No.
And that's one of the things I've always liked about him. When he gets way too deep down the political rabbit hole, it's like just stop and go back to being funny.
Right.
But like he got his start down that political rabbit hole, and then I mean it started with the Daily Show.
Yeah.
And the Stephen versus Steve. Can you believe there was a Stephen versus Stephen segment on the Daily Show?
Oh, man.
And it was Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell?
Yeah.
Like, just look at look at those two dudes today versus that. Anyway, he goes from there to the Colbert Report, where he's essentially a caricature of Bill O'Reilly, who's coming up in about 25 minutes. And then, like, on to the Late Show, where I still don't feel like the Late Show was his right home.
Yeah, and who knows what comes next, right?
Right.
To finish that off, he says he's got 200 well-qualified candidates with me here tonight who will be available in June. So he's trying to get him and his crew hired.
Absolutely.
Get this man a job.
I know.
Hey, I Show Speed, the streaming sensation, was all over campus and all over social media for the LSU game Saturday.
Dude has an entourage like he's a leader of a third world country. I mean, it's just okay. Or as he's known, Speed, all day long on Twitter. Speed's over here, Speed's over there. Speed's wearing a Burrow jersey, but it's the OW Burrow jersey.
Okay,
like I know who he is in terms of like I know that he's famous. I just don't know why. No, isn't
that the case with a lot of these influencers,
with streamers?
Right?
It's like, what did you do? Well, this isn't me saying, these kids today don't know how to determine famous. That's not this. This is like, oh, crap, I'm getting old.
Yeah.
I'm starting to lose touch with why someone's famous.
43 million subscribers.
Yep.
He's built on one of the biggest YouTube followings on the planet.
He's got a huge YouTube following.
Wow.
Apparently, he's also a rapper.
Part of the NFL's big experiment, and the league is banking on him to bring millions of young viewers to its broadcast. So, okay, all right,
and he's got an entourage around him like he's peak Mike Tyson.
Okay,
that's what his entourage looks like.
Man,
like peak Mike Tyson level entourage. 612 Talk 107.3 FM. Yeah, I Show Speed, or as his friends just call him Speed. It's just Speed. You know him. When you're splitting some blackened alligator with the guy.
Yeah.
You don't call him I Show Speed. Too formal. Got to use the informal, just Speed.
Darren Watkins Jr.
That's the real name?
That's his real name. Maybe that's for mom. Maybe that's for mom.
Yeah.
Everyone else is Speed.
Yeah, definitely. Nothing wrong with Darren Watkins Jr.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
It's not like his name is Vernest.
Right.
You know, it's
and
just
that. Yeah.
We're at 612 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We're going to break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk Saints, who lost again. Get rid of, that's going to be the normal Monday. Saints lost again. We'll talk a little Southern football. And Michael Gobble stepped in it. We've got the audio from that as well. That's all coming up right after this on Talk 107.3. I'm keeping an eye on the clock to make sure. I'll hit that NeuroJust eventually.
Okay. All right, so let's see. 19,
20, and Kelly. Oh, God. I heard the dumbest joke over the weekend, and I cannot let go of it. Okay, get ready for this. This is it's so stupid, but like an hour from now, you're gonna be like, that was pretty smart. I think the word coward should mean in the direction of a cow.
So I got the cuts ready.
It's so dumb.
Oh man,
it's so dumb. But I sat on that all weekend. In the first break of the show, I shared that with the crew. Oh God. I think the word coward should mean in the direction of a cow. Well, where we're headed? We're heading coward. I just hope my wife appreciates that I didn't bother her with that last night, right?
Right. Oh, man.
Can, well, speaking of checking yourself before you wreck yourself, boy, did Killmeat step in it last week. Wow. He has since apologized. I don't know. He made a comment about offing a bunch of homeless people. It was unbelievably like tone deaf and insensitive. But it was in the wake of the Ukrainian girl who was killed on the train. You had to know the full context of what he was talking about. Not forgiving him, not condoning it, but man, did that not play well at all. Goodness gracious. But Killmeat will be coming up at 11. I'm curious to tune into his show today just to hear how he responds to, I don't want to say, putting the genie back in the bottle, but there's a lot of angry people over that, as there should be. We're an overstimulated society, to be sure. I'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Right now, though, it is sports time. I want to start off with the Saints. 0-2 now for the first time since 2017. They lose to a San Francisco team who was without Brock Purdy, without George Kittle, 26-21 in the Superdome. A lot of crowd shots during the game. Whew, man, hard to believe it was New Orleans. It was a lot of San Francisco fans made the trip. So glad to see those hotel motel receipts are going to be cashing in. Mac Jones was in at quarterback for San Francisco, threw for 279 yards and 3 touchdowns, making Mac Jones look like Tom Brady. The 49ers were 8 of 15 on third down, converted on several third and long situations. Kellen Moore says his team is still a work in progress.
We got to do more of what winning football teams do. We got to play better in situational football. We got to pounce on opportunities when they're presented, and we got to give ourselves a better chance. And so there's too much good in there to miss these opportunities. And so we got to play better, faster, learn from these things, and go from there.
San Francisco took a 9-0 lead in the second quarter. Saints never really could catch up. They're not looking bad. Spencer Rattler's not looking bad. It's just they're a step below every step of the way. Rattler, he only completed one of his first 7 passes. Then he righted the ship a good bit after that. He threw for 207 and 3 touchdowns himself. Rattler he's winless as a starting quarterback.
Man, we're close, though. We're close. It's these games come down to the wire, and got to do what winning teams do. That's what Kellen was telling us, and if that's cleaning up, I thought our procedure was much better this week, didn't have as many penalties. We moved the ball well all game, just got to start faster, in those first 3 or 4 drives, and, that changes the game.
So the Saints moved to 0-2, and they're going to hit the road now. They're at the Seahawks. That is going to be an impossible battle. Since it's a West Coast game, it's going to be a later kickoff, 3:05 p.m., still on our sister station, Eagle 98.1, right down the hall. That'll be coming up this coming Sunday. Meanwhile, in college football, LSU, of course, a winner against Florida. We're going to talk about that in our entire next segment. 20-10, your final score there. We will have the audio of Michael Cobble from WBRZ asking a seemingly innocuous question, or a question that had a very easy answer, and then he just got lit up. Meanwhile, Southern was out west on Saturday night, taking on Fresno State. The Jaguars moved to 1-3. Fresno State moves to 3-1. 56-7, your final score there. Rough night for the Jags. It's 6:20. Here's the Fox Business Report. All right. Tell me some highlights. Yeah. INT, interception. No. Nope. 2.2, Thomas TD, yes. No, you got it, Halsey. Nope. Nope. Spears pick 6. 3.1. And then give me the other highlight I'm going to want is Pickett interception. What is that one? Do what? Okay. And then is there was it Durham that rattled off the 51-yard run? I want that one as well. Yes, I do. Feel like the break gets here faster every single time. Oh, starting off your week on I-12 westbound, you are not going to find a whole lot of volume right now. Maybe a little bit in between Millerville and Sherwood Forest. It's really the only place that's flaring up on the interstates right now, and that's such an overstatement because it's barely a flare up. It's just the only volume that we're really seeing. 10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish is looking good. 10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge Parish is looking good, as is I-110. Meanwhile, on your surface streets, we're looking good there as well. About 10 minutes ago, there was a hit and run. It's been moved off the roadway, and it's not even on a road that anybody goes on. Well, that's part of anybody's normal commute. It's Harco at Wallace Street. So if you just happen to be in that area, if you're the person in that area, this traffic report was specifically for you. I mean, other than that, we're starting off our week great from the Talk 107.3 Traffic Center. .624 at Talk 107. Well, no, yeah, 624 at Talk 107.3 FM. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. All right, so we talked Saints, we talked Southern. It's time to get down to business because LSU is 3-0 on the young season, and all things are looking good. Beating Florida. Well, I shouldn't say all things are looking good. there's a couple of glaring missteps along the way. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But I do want to start with Friday night's game, topping Florida. Whoops, where did it go? Oh, no. My apologies, y'all. I gotta reset my page here. 2010 is your final score. You beat Florida by 2 scores. Nothing wrong on that front. Let's get you a couple highlights from the night. Garrett Nussmeier, he did not have the biggest of nights. 15 of 27, not a terrible completion percentage, not a great completion percentage. 220 yards. A lot of folks could deal with that. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I think everyone who watched the game knows that interception was about the dumbest throw he's ever made. And that's not hyperbole. It was just stupid. And I don't know what he was thinking at the time. Honestly, if I were guessing what was going on in his mind, and I didn't hear him after the game or anything like that, so I don't know his post-game comments. But when he saw the flag go up, and the flag was for holding, but when he saw the flag go up, I think he thought he had a free play right there. Anyway, that was his 1 interception. Here, however, was his 1 touchdown early on in the second quarter.
2nd and 13, Nussmeier. Stacks 2 receivers left, 2 to the right. Plenty of time in the pocket. It holds. The throw to the end zone. Caught at the goal line, falling in backwards. Xavion Thomas, touchdown, Fighting Tigers. 20.
That touchdown was a culmination of a fantastic drive. An absolutely fantastic drive, which LSU doesn't seem to be putting together often enough yet. But here's the thing, though. They're winning without putting them together yet. Like, as the season wears on, this offense is a work in progress. It always will be. Hopefully everything's a work in progress, right? You don't want to peak until the playoffs, until the championship game. Constantly having the opportunity to get better. Now, Garrett Nussmeier's 220 yards. Damian Ramos, 2 field goals on the night. He had 102 yards on the ground. More on that in a minute. But overall, you didn't win this game on the offensive side of the football. You won this game on the defensive side when DJ Lagway throws 5 picks, including this pick 6 to Deshaun Spears.
Ball again will empty out, line up wide to the right. They stack 2 receivers to the right in the slot, 1 receiver to the left. Lagway by his lonesome takes the snap, looks left, quick fire, intercepted at the 43-yard line. Coming near side, it's a race to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers. Touchdown, Deshaun Spears. His 2nd pick of the night, 59 yards. And the Tigers, with a pick 6, make it 19-10. And Tiger Stadium is on fire.
It absolutely was. So where by the way, Chris Blair on the call for the LSU Sports Radio Network. Chris had a really good call Saturday night. Chris Blair on the call for the LSU Sports Radio Network. Where the studio is, if you're in the south end zone, it's kind of like underneath the upper, like, where the Skyline Club is? The studio for LSU Sports Properties, the radio studio, is kind of underneath that. When that stadium's rocking, oh, you could feel it. You could feel it, like Tremor style feel it. It's awesome. I did tell you it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks on the night for DJ Lagway, the last of which was snagged by DJ Pickett. Got to Pickett. I think everybody was sitting on that pun since he first signed. Here's how this one sounded in the 4th quarter.
Go. Lagway takes the snap. Here comes pressure. He avoids it. Here comes more pressure. Throws backside and intercepted. Oh, my goodness, at the 35-yard line. DJ Pickett, the freshman, skies in the air and takes it away. 5th interception offered up by DJ Lagway tonight. Tigers
got to keep it moving. There was a 51-yard run on the night by Caden Durham. That was the highlight of the run game.
Under center, Nussmeier. Flag comes out. Here's the handoff and racing down the near side. Caden Durham inside the 10, eventually pulled down around the 4-yard line. But a flag way back in the defensive backfield.
And the flag was going to be on the defense. So Caden Durham pops off for a 51-yard run. You subtract that run, LSU only had 51 yards rushing on the night. Michael Cobble in the post-game press conference asks.
Brian in the back, I know you love these immediate post-game sessions, but what are you seeing with your offense?
Stop. Really? Is that the first question? We won the game 20-10. Try another question. What do you want me to tell you? I just laid it out for you. We played the game to win the game. We played the game to win the game.
All right. How about third down then? What is going on with third down?
It's one game. Last game, we were great on third down. You're looking at this from the wrong perspective. LSU won the football game. Won the game. I don't know what you want from me. What do you want? You want us to win 70-0 against Florida to keep you happy?
No, I think people want to know why you can't run the ball, quite honestly.
We can run the ball. Did you see the last play of the game? That's all you need. You just need one. There's a ridiculous questions. And I'm getting tired of it. That football team just worked their tail off to get an SEC win, and you want to know what's wrong. You know what? You're spoiled. You're spoiled. This team is 17-1 at night. 17-1. Give them some respect. How about that? Give them some respect instead of micro-analyzing every little thing. This is ridiculous. For a group of seasoned reporters, that kind of question is so out of line.
No, it's not. Because before that 51-yard run, you only had 51 yards rushing. You were averaging 2 yards a carry. Here's news. Okay, after weather, I'm going to want you to come to me before the Bill O'Reilly interview. Okay? Galen says, I think Brian Kelly's response was horrendous. That question is valid, and BK tried being Saban-esque. He ain't Saban. When he wins 6 natties, he can be Saban-esque. I believe he got that lashing out because Cobble's right. If the question isn't right, he'll take it in stride. If the question is an inappropriate question, he'll throw back, some sort of jovial, half-hearted joke, he knows going in that his run game's in trouble. Run game was in trouble last year and the year before that. This is year 3 of Dookie in the backfield. Renee says, we listen to the post game. They call it, well, they always call me the straw. That's a Chris Blair thing. Whoever is the producer is the straw. I don't get to be the only straw. Alondra's the straw. Taylor's the straw. Palermo's the straw. Galen says, I've heard Ben Shapiro volunteer to keep Charlie Kirk's mission going. He would be a great steward of the mission. I disagree with that. Shapiro does not have the compassion that Kirk does. Shapiro has cold heart. Shapiro is facts don't care about your feelings. With Kirk, there was room for your feelings and how to work through back to the facts so that your feelings can jive with them. Charlie Kirk was a lot more compassionate than Ben Shapiro is. I'm going to defer on the Clemson topic until later on in the season because they're about to hit their conference schedule, and 1 and 2 is going to very quickly become like 8 and 2. Can't wait for the DC press. And I hope Michael Cobble's there, and I hope the first question out of his mouth is, why can't you? I hope the first question out of his mouth is, before Caden Durham rattled off a 51-yard run, y'all were averaging 2.1 yards per carry. Kelly says you only need one. No, it's a 4-quarter game. And the crazy thing is, we didn't need that one because we had already won. You're up by 2 scores with, 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter? You already won. How long is the Bill O'Reilly interview? 9:31. I got 9:31 out of him. That was supposed to be 7. Okay. I'm gonna do my neuro just read to kind of get back on track a little bit, and then I need to preview there's important qualifiers here because of when that interview was recorded. 6:37 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Going to get to Bill O'Reilly in just a quick second. Do need to remind you about the folks over at NeuroJust. If you or a loved one is battling with anxiety and depression, listen up. This is. If you're in the battle, you already know, right? If you know, you know. If you are battling with anxiety and depression, you know you are in a constant fight or flight mode in your mind. It's exhausting. That constant fight or flight, that constant battle in your mind is just exhausting. And if you found that sit-down face-to-face therapy doesn't have the effect that you would like it to, or if you've gone the prescription drug route and it has either had diminishing returns, side effects, or just not taking effect, let me tell you about something called transcranial magnetic stimulation. TMS for short. This is what they do at NeuroJust. NEUROJUST.com. It's an FDA-approved, non-invasive treatment. There are no side effects. They use magnetic pulses to stimulate areas of the brain involved in mood regulation, and they've got receipts, y'all. TMS has shown response rates of 70 to 80%, remission rates of 60 to 70%. This form of treatment is sweeping the nation, and it's right here in Baton Rouge. To learn more, visit neurojust.com. All right, Bill O'Reilly's got a new book out, and I got the chance to catch up with him to talk about it, and we like to disclose when we have pre-recorded content on what is otherwise a live show. This is a pre-recorded segment, but not right now. I'm live right now, given the disclaimer. But I wanted to doubly make sure that I disclosed this was a pre-recorded segment because Bill O'Reilly's book is called Confronting Evil. And we're seeing evil in the world a lot. There's a lot of chaos and a lot of evil going on right now. Now, I recorded this interview about an hour before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So as you listen to the next 8-9 minutes worth of Bill O'Reilly, just note that he didn't overlook Charlie Kirk. This got on tape before it happened. So, pleasure to welcome back to the show, as we have a number of times. We've got Bill O'Reilly on. His latest book is called Confronting Evil, and he joins us to talk about it now. Bill, how are you, man?
Good, Brian. Thanks for having me in. How's things in Louisiana?
Hot. Other than that, though, football season's off to a great start. Things are plugging away. Thank you for asking. Confronting Evil. Tell me all about it.
Evil's on the rise in the world and in the United States. There's no question about it. We see it every day in the news. On the cover of Confronting Evil, we got Hitler, the Ayatollah, Putin, Mao Zedong, and 14 other miscreants inside the book. So this is 9/11 week. That never would have happened if not for the Ayatollah Khomeini and the Persian people allowing him power to ramp up the jihad and become a terrorist state. Putin, just today, firing missiles at Poland now.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are you going to kill over there, Vlad? For what? For what? Evil, unbelievable. And he's going to have to be confronted. I don't know how the Trump administration and NATO is going to do it, but it's out of control now, and you're going to have to do something about it. But the main theme of this book is that every American has the obligation, the moral obligation, to stop looking away from evil, to recognize it and to confront it as best they can. And that's why I wrote the book. I need people to understand you just can't live in a bubble with a cell phone anymore. We have to start to right some of these wrongs.
What goes into the confrontation? Because, and this one is, it's a fantastic topic. It's a fantastic premise, and where you take it is amazing. So talk to me a little bit about what goes into the confrontation.
Well, it depends. So we have Chicago, 20 years, drug gangs, gunning down poor black Americans on the South Side. Every 4 years, there's an election, and the same people, the progressive, liberal Democrats, get voted in, do nothing about the violence in the South Side of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when are you guys going to wise up out there and stop this? So Trump says, I'll afford more protection for these poor black Americans by moving in the guard, and then they object to that? What is wrong with you? And I can give you many, many more examples. The poor woman on the bus in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yep.
This guy was arrested a few days before that for beating the hell out of his own sister. And the judge lets him out with no bail. Are you kidding me? You got 13 priors, you're violent, and a judge just lets you out the door? This has got to stop. Americans have to rise up.
We're talking with Bill O'Reilly about his latest book, Confronting Evil. Bill, one of my favorite parts is the way you how do I put it? You tackle this without hyperbole. Once the name Hitler comes up, it's like everything else needs to leave the room. But the way you bring about individual situations without making it hyperbolic, I think is an important part of the discussion.
Well, we're the best-selling history authors in the world, Brian. And the reason we are is we are fact-based. So in every chapter, Hitler, Stalin, the drug lords, the slavers, with facts. Here's who the guys were. Mm-hmm. Here's how they got power. And here's what they did. And people, smart people, want facts, not hype. So we come at it from a completely different point of view than most other people do. We are not hysterical. We are methodical.
And where do we take it? Where do we take the conversation from here? Because I know when you've been on about past books, Confronting the Presidents most recently, if I'm not mistaken, once you've come on, there's been a direction to follow on the back end.
Yeah, I mean, look, people have to reassess who they're going to vote for. I made headlines on social media this week because I live in New York, and I said, if you cast a ballot for Mandani, that's an evil act. You may not be evil as a voter, but what you're doing is evil because Mandani has said flat out, I am not going to enforce the law in a city of 8.5 million people. Well, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to have bodies pile up. You're voting for that? That's what you're voting for? No. So the upshot of this book is we need every American voter to reassess, rethink what they actually are doing to try to defeat this evil movement.
So far in this conversation, Bill, you've referenced evil in real time on 3 different levels: on a national/international level, on a citywide level, and then on an individual level, talking about the guy on the train in North Carolina. Between those 3, it's just what my takeaway is something closer to being able to identify has to be starting point number 1.
Well, being aware, I think it's awareness. You don't have to be a judgmental person like me. I'm judgmental. It's what I do. I'm a news analyst. I make decisions every day about what I think is good or bad for the country and the world. You don't have to do that. You've got to be aware, though, and you've got to assemble in your mind what is actually happening. So New Orleans is a great example. New Orleans has been out of control crime-wise for what, 25 years?
My lifetime.
Last time the feds had to go in to take over the New Orleans Police Department?
Yep.
Now, everybody knows what's driving the crime in New Orleans. It's drugs.
Yep.
Everybody knows that. Yet, there isn't a organized plan on the part of the politicians to tamp down the narcotics industry in the Big Easy. Why? This is what's causing all of this horror. Why aren't you doing anything about it? You've got to be aware of what the evil is and how it is being played out.
Yeah, I think down in New Orleans, it's kind of a matter of how do we live with and make the most of with just accepting the status quo. Realizing that there's no apple that's too big to eat is another discussion altogether. Bill, real quick before we get you out of here, and I'm looking, I've got one eye on the clock for you. Before we get you out of here, what do you hope is the main message that folks take away from this book?
Engagement. You got to start to get away from your own bubble.
Yep.
Your own cell phones, computers, hobbies, football all weekend long. And you got to start to think about how I can make things better in my neighborhood, my family, discuss things with friends, mobilize votes in a way that you're voting for candidates who are actually going to try to solve the problems that we have. That's what I want people to take from the book. And they'll learn a hell of a lot, Brian. If you read Confronting Evil, you will learn, okay, a tremendous amount about this country and this world.
Oh, before I get you out of here, I almost forgot about the YouTube channel. You're up on YouTube now.
Yeah, we're big worldwide on YouTube. It's youtube.com/Bill O'Reilly. We're steaming toward 2 million subscribers all over the world. The Chinese government invited me to speak in Beijing in May. I did go, based upon they watch my YouTube channel every night. So we'd love people in Louisiana to get down and check that out. It's free, worth your while.
Never thought about YouTube as a platform to send Bill O'Reilly to China, but man, free speech knows no bounds.
Well, lucky for us. Don't have that in China.
Yet. He's Bill O'Reilly. Keep it coming, man. Confronting Evil's the latest book. It's another great one. Bill, thank you so much for a couple minutes.
Thanks for having me in, Brian. Really appreciate it.
Always. Like I said, that was recorded just before Charlie Kirk's assassination. Well, I shouldn't say, about an hour or so before Charlie Kirk's assassination. And it's amazing how the conversation could change that quickly. I was actually hesitant as to whether or not I was going to play this back or not, because dialing down political rhetoric is important on both sides of the aisle right now. And you got to be careful who you're calling evil. Calling people evil is a motivator to do something about it. And I went back, I listened to it again, and I listened to it a third time. And when you go through the book, when you talk about the 14 people he talks about, yes, you could say that is, I have no problem calling Vladimir Putin evil. Now, there's only one American who's actually seeking a political position right now who he referenced right there, and that's the guy running for mayor in New York. And that's where the political rhetoric probably needs to be dialed down a little bit. But that's what Bill O'Reilly does. He riles people up. And the question then becomes, what's more important on that front? Riling people up or just saying relax? Here's your money now. There's no way to get that off of there. Patrick Reynolds. Okay, Patrick, I want to read this comment here. Fantastic comment. National Guard in the cities are a Band-Aid. What is the root cause of the violence? Address that. Okay. If you have a Band-Aid, if you have a need for a Band-Aid, you use the Band-Aid. You still put the what's the stuff you put on the open cut to make sure the
triple antibiotic?
Yeah.
Peroxide?
No, was it peroxide? You still put the hydrogen peroxide to clean it out, but you don't ignore the Band-Aid because you need the Band-Aid. It's one part of a multi-pronged process. And I don't want to remove that one part. By the way, you know what? Unless this storm becomes a hurricane in the next, 10 minutes, which we'll find out 10 minutes from now, unless the storm becomes a hurricane, go back to last week, and we had cuts from Chief Morse about bringing the National Guard to town. If you could grab the first one, which I believe is just over a minute long, and we talked about the logistics of it, how would it work? That's where we're going to go there.
Do I need to snag it from his interview?
No,
or is
it's
it
already cut.
Oh, it is
I
cut.
think it's in the folder for the day after, so it would be Wednesday's folder.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. See, conversation sparks from the damn chat. The glorified crew is rocking it, always.
I got National Guard 1 and 2. You want both?
One. Well, yeah, grab them both. I'm probably only going to want number one. Byron says, I just read for the third time this morning about Elon Musk and the wage inequities in America. People need to understand the fixed pie fallacy. Yes. Musk being rich isn't taking away from your ability to gain wealth. That is 1,000% correct. It would only be 100% correct, but the pie grew. Kimberly says also they don't have arresting power. I forgot about that. The root of the problem needs to be addressed. I agree. Yeah, I know. But in the meanwhile, I'll take every ounce. And this is what Chief Morse basically had to say, is in the meanwhile, I'll take every ounce of help I can get. We will take every ounce of help we can get. If having the National Guard driving up and down the streets, in the wake of a crime to stop a second from happening, or however we're able to utilize them, put them in the real-time crime center so that the cops behind the desk can get out on the street. Whatever the case might be, however they can be used. I don't care if they turn into water boys for our police department. However they can be used to be a force multiplier. Income inequality is as stupid a conversation as food deserts. Every individual can fix their income in this country, but it would require sweat equity. Hell, I've known people that cut grass for a living making $250K per year. Nobody cutting grass for a living on their own is making $250K per year. You're talking about somebody who started cutting grass for a living and then turned into a lawn service business and now has other people making less than him. There's not enough hours in the day unless you're charging some kind of exorbitant rate. There's not enough hours in the day. If you talk about starting by cutting grass and growing it into something, sure. But don't make it sound like, maybe I'm just reading it wrong, but I don't want it to sound like I can go cut grass and make $250K a year. Because that ain't happening. But you're right. If you grow it into a business, if you grow it into, you grow something. And I will go back to saying food deserts are a real thing, or have been a real thing. We're working on it here. It's a lot better now than it was a decade ago, to be sure. .655 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. LSU going to be at home again this weekend against Southeastern, but road games are on the way, and Baton Rouge Metro Airport has got you covered. Nothing like traveling to see the Tigers and some of the more highly anticipated college football matchups. That's why BTR has nonstop round-trip flights to game day. They've added direct flights to Nashville, Birmingham, and Oklahoma City. That would be to take on, respectively, Vanderbilt, Alabama, or Oklahoma. BTR is going to get you there. Nonstop flights to those games. So if you're booking your flights now to visit an away game and go to see the Tigers on the road, start off, if you would, please, with flybtr.com. Flybtr.com all football season long. We got ABC News coming up about 5 minutes from right now, giving me enough time to dive in on this a little bit. Friday night, I went to the Charlie Kirk Vigil over at the LSU Union Theater. And I wasn't expecting to get punched in the gut emotionally as much as I did. I've always been a fan of Charlie Kirk's content on like social media and whatnot. Small bites, right? Short form video. The college tour that he does, or that he did, I should say, it's just compelling content to see a number of fresh minds asking engaging questions and him giving answers. And that was the level of that was the extent of the relationship right there. Never met the man, never knew the man. He's never been on the show. Like, it just, I've never even had the chance to speak with him once. When I showed up Friday night to the vigil, I got to say I was floored, y'all. Packed house, first and foremost. By the way, check out Talk 107.3's Facebook page. Get a good image of what it looked like that night inside the Union Theater. And in fairness, I snapped off the pictures before they told us no photography. So, oops. And then afterwards, right outside, grabbing a number of folks who were inside and asking them one simple question. What did Charlie Kirk mean to you? And we've got a reel up on Talk 107.3's Facebook that I encourage you to check out as well, because there was a resounding response, darn near a consensus. Courage, fearlessness. Well, not fearlessness, but facing fear. Standing up for what you believe in, whether that be on your political beliefs or your religious beliefs. And believe me, it was a 50-50 balance between the two. Those who said, I love Charlie Kirk because I feel like I could stand up for loving Christ because he stood up for loving Christ. I so admired that response on the way out. It's simple. It's non-judgmental. Nobody that I talked to said we need to strike down others. Everybody I talked to said what Charlie Kirk gave me was the courage to be myself. That was amazing. Jeff Landry spoke. Speaker Johnson spoke. State Senator Rick Edmonds gave a very powerful prayer to lead the whole thing off. Unfortunately, I don't have any audio from Friday night inside the LSU Union Theater. However, at the Kennedy Center last night, Speaker Johnson was there as well, and he had this to say about Charlie Kirk.
I think Charlie Kirk offered more productive content to the free marketplace of ideas than anyone in his generation, and arguably in the last 100 years of U.S. history.
It's a lot out there. And it is a lot out there. The vigil itself was equal parts reverent and motivating. And hopefully that motivation stays in the right lane. And I don't mean right lane as in like Republican right lane, but in the correct lane to motivate yourself to live your life and be proud of who you are on whichever side of the aisle you're on, and not punch down on the other side. Here comes news. What you say, Rich?
But yet they can be nice with him. Hey, Mike, what the question? That was a good question. You fake. They fake.
Cobble needs to ask the first question at today's press conference, and that question needs to be, before Caden Durham rattled off a run, you were averaging 2.2 yards a carry. Why? No, he stay on the fucking.
It ain't like Cobble said. Hey, Coach Tyler Stevenson, man, the guy he's dating was transitioning to a woman. Your thoughts? Hey, Coach, by the way, what do you think of shots fired out at the Law Center? Did that scare you? You know what I mean? Hey, what do you think about Poland shooting down them Russian drones? Okay. He asked about, you know what, Kyle? Hey, Brian, what's the deal with you and the wife? That's going wrong? See where I'm going? Yeah.
Oh, that would be out of bounds.
Brian, there was a day when media guys stood up for one another.
Yeah.
But now they're such wussies. Yeah. And they weren't about being loved. And now that you know I'm right.
No, I don't. Look,
so,
I played it back.
Wait, Matt, well, I know home. How come Matt didn't have his back? How come nobody in the media locally, Preston, all these guys, not one of them had his back? Not one of them came out and said, "Hey, Mike, that was a great question." Because that's the same question that 99% of the people, if they would have had access, would have asked.
Trying to think what Charles said, because Hannegriff basically said Cobble jumped on the grenade. Someone was going to ask the question, and they were going to get. So it didn't matter who asked the question; they were all going to get the same response.
Okay.
So.
Well, how come nobody comes out and has his back on?
I don't know.
You know.
Well, I played it back, and I said Cobble was in the right. It is a legitimate question to ask, because Cobble's not your PR department.
Dude.
He's a reporter.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Clemson. Look at them. Look at what you didn't do against who we got attacked.
Yeah.
Guys are 12 interceptions. Joey scored 13. And yet you're going to get on a guy?
Yeah.
Hey, I love the cute one at the end. You didn't see that last run?
The last run exemplifies the whole thing. The last run literally doubled their rushing yardage on the night.
You got one good run. And
yeah.
You tell me,
well, it just takes one. No, it's a game. It's a 4-quarter long game. It doesn't just take one. It takes 4 damn quarters. Well, see, I get accused of that shit all the time with politicians, and it's not true. I don't give a shit about access. I give a shit about information. Like, I'm with you, Rich. I'm 1,000%. You know what? I just disappointed. If I'm Michael, I'm disappointed. Because nobody has my back. Yeah. .705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you. JP producing. We are starting off our second hour at, give me 1 second. Sorry, I got to refresh. Oh, we're holding at 70 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Busy hour this hour. We've got Dr. Sobia Ozair from Our Lady of the Lake talking Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. That's coming up in our next segment. Mary Beth Hughes Derrickson from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry going to join us. Talk Workforce Development Month. That's at 7:35. But before we get to any of that, we dive back into top stories and trending.
Number 5.
A vigil was held for the remembrance of Charlie Kirk in the LSU Union Theater Friday night. Packed house. Numerous speakers. There's a great video of Charlie Kirk's life as well. Governor Landry and House Speaker Mike Johnson were among those who gave their tributes.
Number 4.
Bullet casings were found next to a car with a damaged windshield at the LSU Law Center after a fight on Saturday night, according to BRPD. Officers responded to a shots fired call at the Law Center just after 8 p.m. during the LSU-Florida game. 2 people were detained. They were determined not to be involved in the incident, so the investigation continues.
Number 3.
A 27-year-old was shot to death while intervening in an argument on Saturday night. It happened around 7:45 p.m. Jeray Washington was found shot at the Sycamore Apartments off North Foster Drive, taken to a hospital where he passed. Police say Washington was trying to break up an argument and was shot when he intervened. Officers are looking for Treviante DeQuan Simpson, the person they believe is responsible for Washington's death.
Number 2.
We're looking at an 80% chance of formation of a tropical storm over the next 7 days, 40% chance it becomes a named storm over the next 2 days. There's a tropical wave over the central tropical Atlantic, producing a large area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms. The disturbance will begin to move into a more favorable environment for development over the next couple days.
Number 1.
Trump administration has a plan ready that would send 1,000 National Guard troops to Baton Rouge and New Orleans, according to the Washington Post. The plan, confirmed by the Pentagon, would have National Guard troops support law enforcement in Louisiana's urban centers, but it hinges on a formal request from Governor Jeff Landry. We spoke with Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morse about this on a hypothetical level last week. Going to revisit part of that conversation before this hour's over with. What's trending, JP?
Well, Charlie Kirk's work will carry on. Charlie's widow, Erica, says the college tours, the podcast, and the radio show will continue.
Good. I mean, good that Turning Point's going to continue being Turning Point. But, man, we talked about it last hour, JP. I hope nobody tries to do like a Charlie Kirk 2.0.
Yeah, I don't know if they will try to emulate him or his style. Maybe if they can just have that same passion, that same heart for people that Charlie had, then that's one thing. But trying to emulate his character and who he was, we don't want to see that, right?
His compassion,
that's right,
is part of him. Like that was part of who he was. And by the way, the number of misquotes or partial quotes from Charlie Kirk that are getting regurgitated
out
on
of
Facebook,
context,
like when
clips,
he said, I'm gonna misquote it, but he said something to the effect of, "I don't believe in empathy."
Right.
What the rest of that
quote,
the rest of that quote is because I believe in sympathy. I don't believe I could truly put myself into what someone else is feeling, but I can feel for them.
Yeah.
Like, if you only have the one little snippet, you're doing everyone a disservice, including the folks that you're trying to convince that he was somehow a bad guy.
That's right. And of course, there 14 dates. 14 dates were planned, and one of those could be maybe LSU. Probably more on that later. But the next one was scheduled for September 18th at Colorado State University. So I guess
man,
we'll see.
You don't want to see it canceled, but at the same time, though, there needs to be a period of mourning to let this to simmer. There needs to be a period of mourning in order for it not to turn into anger, not for it to foment. You don't want his movement to foment, because and especially, shout out to my buddy Clint, who just texted me, reminded me of something I learned last night.
All right.
Remember Milo Yiannopoulos?
Yes.
Yeah, he's back. He actually tweeted over the weekend he's coming out of retirement.
Yeah, I saw.
Not the compassionate one that Charlie Kirk was.
No, and I believe it was him who said, well, you got rid of the nice one. Now it's time. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. And you know what? I don't think he's alone. I think we might see a lot of this. A lot of people either coming out of retirement or
parents, I apologize. I know we're in peak drive time.
Yeah.
But get ready for pissed off Candace Owens. That's going to be another level.
Well, in other news, Stephen Colbert was a crowd favorite at the Emmys last night, getting a standing ovation as a presenter.
Yeah. Who needs Indeed.com when you've got the Emmys audience
That's
to ask for a job?
That's right. Oh, man. Him and his crew, because he says, I got 200 very well qualified candidates with me here tonight who will be available in June.
Okay. Also, kind of nice to be able to map out that long before you have to find a job.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's not exactly the 2 weeks.
Right?
You know.
Gotta love it when you're Stephen Colbert and you're not like looking at bills like, okay, which two am I paying this month?
Right.
Every name goes in a hat. If collections called me, you're taking your name out of the hat.
There you go. Oh, man. Keeping with entertainment here, I Show Speed, the streaming sensation. Was
No. His friends just call him Speed.
Oh, Speed.
Speed.
Okay. All right. The streaming sensation was all over campus and all over social media for the LSU game on Saturday.
I didn't want to bring this up with the O'Reilly interview, but I was, we were touching on Bill O'Reilly has a YouTube channel now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bill O'Reilly's got 2 million subscribers on YouTube. Speed's got what?
40. Why is it freezing up? 43.
43 million.
Freezing
okay.
Up on me. Yep. 43 million.
Okay. Speed, 43 million.
All right.
Bill O'Reilly, 2 million.
Just subscribe to Speed.
By the way, seeing the videos of him bumping around campus.
Yeah.
Your boy's got an entourage, man. Like you would think he's not Vinny Chase. I mean, his entourage was like peak Mike Tyson. It really was.
Okay.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. Big dudes too.
Really?
Dude, I wouldn't mess with them. I wouldn't. No, they're there for a purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, the level of fame and influence that, well, I guess influencers
and most of us sit back and just ask, why?
Right.
I don't know. And it's my own ignorance. I understand. 48 years old.
Well,
got the full-on Paulie Walnuts hair. I'm going gray. I get it. But, like, why? Well, no, don't play. No, the hair is having 2 daughters. That's.
Oh, for sure.
Love them. Blame them. Love them.
You seen this?
See, that was a compliment sandwich?
Yep.
Love them. Blame them. Love them. We're 712 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Before we take our break, I want to remind you about the folks over at Mathern's. Oh, Saturday was hot, y'all. I got to tell you, stepping into Mathern's on Saturday, I was grabbing a Red Bull because, it's a work day. I'm not drinking. So I stopped in for a Red Bull at Mathern's on Saturday, and the second those doors opened, I didn't realize how much I'd appreciate air conditioning. But the second those doors opened up, I'm like, oh. Mathern's is here for you on game day. They're here for you every other day as well. I love telling you about the campus location because it's so close to Tiger Stadium. But they're here for you downtown. They're here for you off of Highland Road, just west of Kenilworth. Fantastic local grocer where you're going to find local items. And you can take advantage of savings by downloading the app. Download the Mathern's Rewards app today. Start earning cash towards more groceries every time you shop. Be the first to be able to take advantage of the deals and the coupons every single week. Download the app. It's Mathern's. Quick break. Medical Mondays next. And what's it going to say that the 2 biggest spokespersons for conservatism are going to be a gay dude and a black woman?
Time for your weekly checkup. This is Medical Monday, presented by Our Lady of the Lake Health.
It is time for Medical Monday. September, of course, is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, a time dedicated to raising awareness about a disease that can be difficult to detect in its early stages. So let's talk about it. Today on Medical Monday, we're welcoming back Dr. Sobia Ozair to talk about, all things ovarian cancer. Dr. Ozair, how are you this morning?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. And yes, it's super important to be discussing this topic to spread awareness for ovarian cancer. It's perfect timing because September is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month.
Yep. So let's start off with the most basics here. How common is ovarian cancer, and why is it considered such a serious health concern?
So ovarian cancer is the second most common gynecologic cancer in the United States. So pretty common. Ovarian cancer causes more deaths than any other cancer of the female reproductive system, and it ranks fifth in cancer deaths among women, accounting for more deaths than any other cancer of the female reproductive system. And so this cancer mainly develops in older women.
Mm-hmm.
About half of the women are diagnosed with ovarian cancer when they're about 65 years or older. And the American Cancer Society, if we want to look at the stats for United States in 2025, reveals that about 20% women will be diagnosed with ovarian cancer and 12,000 women will pass away from ovarian cancer. So really important to know about this disease.
We're going to get into the severity in just a little bit because those numbers are certainly alarming. But for right now, I want to ask if there's certain women who face a higher risk. I mean, you mentioned older women, of course. I don't want to say old, but you mentioned as you age, your risk increases. What about family history or genetic factors?
Really important to discuss. There's actually no way to know for sure who's going to get ovarian cancer or not, but most women get it without being at high risk. But there are several factors that can increase a woman's risk for ovarian cancer. So if you have close family members, like you hinted at, family history. So if your mom, sister, aunt, grandmother on either side of your family, if they've had ovarian cancer, you want to be, on alert that you need to be checked out. A genetic mutation in particular called BRCA1 or BRCA1 or 2 is a mutation that definitely increases your risk. And then there's also something called hereditary non-polyposis colorectal cancer, which is also associated with a mutation, also called Lynch syndrome. So if you have those risk factors, definitely increases your risk. Other things like endometriosis or never having given birth called nulliparity increase your risk as well for ovarian cancer. The last thing I want to mention is a lot of women will be taking estrogen for menopausal symptoms. So if you take that by itself without progesterone, some studies suggest that if you take it for more than 10 years, it increases your risk of ovarian cancer. Now, one thing to know is if you have one or more of these factors true for you, it doesn't necessarily mean you will get ovarian cancer, but you do need to speak with your doctor about your risk. And if you or your family member have a history of ovarian cancer, uterine cancer, colon cancer, or breast cancer, you should speak to your doctor about genetic counseling.
Okay, that's a pretty big swath of who should be in the numbers to start looking out for things earlier. So let's talk about what women need to know about early detection.
So screening is when a test is used to look for a disease before there are any symptoms. Unfortunately, there is no simple and reliable way to screen for ovarian cancer in women who don't have any signs or symptoms. Since there's no reliable way to screen, it's especially important to recognize warning signs. So here's what you can do. Basically, pay attention to your body and know what's normal for you. If you notice any changes in your body that are not normal for you and are persistent, talk to your doctor. In average risk women, there's actually a recommendation against screening for ovarian cancer. So if you don't have any symptoms, it's recommended to do any specific screening strategy, like checking for tumor markers or special ultrasounds. They're not shown to reduce mortality. And all these screening strategies are actually associated with a higher rate of false positive tests and more harm from invasive testing. So, like I mentioned earlier, ovarian cancer is more prevalent among women with a family history, particularly those with a hereditary cancer syndrome like BRCA1, BRCA2, or the Lynch syndrome. So women who have a high-risk family history should be referred for genetic counseling, and that's kind of the first step of knowing if you would benefit from specific risk reduction strategies, such as risk-reducing bilateral salpingo-oophorectomy, which is basically where they take the ovaries out.
Okay. I had a follow up there that you answered within it. Is that why wouldn't you want to get tested? But fantastic information on the back end. We're talking with Dr. Sobia Ozair about ovarian cancer during Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month as part of Medical Monday, presented by Our Lady of the Lake. Signs and symptoms. What should folks be on the lookout for?
So ovarian cancer can cause several signs and symptoms. Women are more likely to have symptoms if the disease has spread, but even early stage ovarian cancer can cause symptoms. So the most common symptoms are going to be things that are a little vague. So bloating, feeling full quickly, urinary symptoms, which sometimes we think of being as a UTI, right. But if it's being persistent, then we should probably follow up with a doctor in person. Trouble and pelvic or abdominal pain that's persistent, that's not really going away after 2 to 4 weeks. And then changes in a woman's menstrual cycle. So if you're having heavier bleeding than normal or irregular bleeding. And yeah, these symptoms are vague and can be caused by non-cancerous diseases. But it's still important to pay attention to your body. And if something just doesn't seem right, then you got to get checked out.
Okay, I want to follow up on that heavier menstrual cycle there, because isn't that just also a natural part of life progression? Like, at what point should it be an alarm?
So normally a woman's cycle might be 3 to 7 days. And so for a woman who is sort of like, hey, I am not having a break between my cycles are 14 days. Or usually I'm having a lighter cycle for the first 3 days and I'm done, and now I'm just bleeding so much more. So it's really about that change. And yes, you're right. Throughout a woman's life, her cycles can change. But if it seems like it's an abrupt change or something persistent, that's why it's just important to be in contact with your gynecologist or your primary care, just so that they can at least double check, maybe get an ultrasound if it just doesn't seem like you're normal. Because those kind of changes can be very irregular and not normal, especially if you're bleeding prolonged.
Yeah. Now, again, nice clarification on the back end right there. You touched on this a little bit earlier, but I want to dive deeper into causes. We're looking at lifestyle or environmental factors. Do they play a role?
So going beyond the risk factors, it's not exactly clear what causes ovarian cancer, unfortunately. But studies have identified that things can increase the risk of disease. One of the things is smoking. So just smoking in general increases our risk of cancer. Not having a healthy lifestyle or having a good diet, being obesity, we know about that, has a relationship with cancer risk. So basically, the cells that are in or near the ovary develop changes, get mutations in their DNA, and that basically causes a mutation. And so the cell's DNA has the instructions that tell the cells what to do. The mutations cause the cells to grow and then multiply quickly, and this in turn creates a mass or a tumor of cancer cells. And then they can invade nearby tissues, break off from an initial tumor, or spread and go into other parts of the body. So that's kind of how ovarian cancer forms, just like any other cancer, just a generic explanation of how there's just like this one mutation and it just rampantly starts to multiply.
What about prevention? Are there steps women can take to lower their risk?
So there's no known way to prevent ovarian cancer, but there are things associated with a lower chance of getting ovarian cancer. So having used birth control pills for 5 or more years, having had a tubal ligation or where they get your tubes tied, having your ovaries removed, of course, and then having given birth or having children is actually protective. Breastfeeding is also shown to be protective if you breastfed for over a year. So, again, what's most important is knowing your body, and if you have symptoms that are frequent and not improving after a few weeks, like we discussed before, you should really just go to the doctor and get checked. Early diagnosis is key. We want to be as proactive that we can be.
Yeah, early diagnosis it seems to be key in every type of cancer out there. So let's talk about how quickly this happens. How quickly does ovarian cancer typically develop?
So ovarian cancer can progress from early stage disease to advanced disease within a year. Ovarian cancer can progress from one stage to the next stage in several months. So it's not something you want to sit on at all. Because if you have symptoms, you just want to get started on your workup, make sure nothing else is going on. No reason to delay.
Got just a couple minutes left with Dr. Sobia Ozair talking Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month here. Let's use those remaining minutes to talk treatment if we can. What are some of the main options today, and how have they advanced in recent years?
So treatment for ovarian cancer usually involves a combination of therapies. If you have earlier stage disease, surgery to remove the cancer, and chemotherapy comes into play too. Those are special medications to shrink or kill the cancer. The drugs can be given in your veins through an IV, and even pills you can take, or even a combination of both of those medicines. It's also important to mention that although we have treatments, there's always room for improvement, which is why clinical trials are so important. Clinical trials use new promising treatment options, and so we always want to make sure we can get our patients to be able to have those options.
If you could just kind of sum everything up for the overall message for Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month.
So just know your body and be your own advocate if you notice something is just not right or not your normal. That's the biggest thing. Just be aware and be proactive. Go to your doctor if you have symptoms and just follow up routinely.
And if something is out of line, you can call 225-757-0343, 225-757-0343. Dr. Sobia Ozair, thank you so much for a couple minutes this morning.
No problem. My pleasure.
Coming up on 729 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Got to remind you about the folks over at Vex European. VEX, Vex European. That's V as in Vinny. If you drive a European vehicle, hit up vexeuropean.com. Hit the little drop-down tab where it says vehicles. If you see yours on there, you might want to go ahead and look at the appointment tab. Even if nothing's wrong with your car, that introductory visit's important. An oil change. You schedule them for your next oil change, okay? What you want to do is you want to get to know Vinny and his team over at Vex European because they take care of your car. Your car. You're going to find a master-level technician who specializes in your make of vehicle. I drive an 18-year-old car. Like I use them expressly because they can service a Mercedes-Benz. If you have a BMW, you'll get a BMW tech. Jaguar tech. Audi, Land Rover. You'll find the whole list when you get to vexeuropean.com. Find them, make sure you're utilizing them because they specialize in your vehicle. Your car's history will follow your car just like your chart follows with your doctor. Check them out at vexeuropean.com. We're going to break for news, traffic, weather on the back end. We're going to talk workforce development with the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. While I have a quick second, point of personal privilege, want to give a shout out to David Summers. He's the choir director over at St. Joseph Cathedral. Had me out last night to narrate a concert. Man, what a great evening. What an absolutely wonderful evening. And between the St. Joseph's Cathedral and Most Blessed Sacrament putting their voices together for this concert, which will be available somewhere because it was professionally recorded, you're in for a treat if you have the opportunity to find it. I will say this. Let me apologize publicly. My Latin's terrible, but it was a great night altogether. So thanks to them for having me out. Oh, we've got, like I said, news, traffic, weather coming your way right now. 736 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Last night was the Emmys. Here with a full breakdown from Louisiana Association of Business and Industry is Mary Beth Hughes Derrickson. Mary Beth, how are you?
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Doing well. You ready to break down the Emmys, or you want to talk workforce development?
I'll be honest, I did not watch a moment of the
Woo-hoo!
Emmys, but
Me
we
neither.
can talk about it. I saw all the best dress lists this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you want to go that route, I can make it work.
No, I didn't watch a second of the Emmys either. So I was new.
I will say I was happy to see this morning when I was kind of looking at the recap, and The Pit. I don't know if you've seen that show, Brian, but it's incredible. It won a ton of awards last night.
That's the one with Noah Wyle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an ER sort of spinoff, but it's good.
Noah Wyle playing in another hospital one. What range?
Right, exactly.
No, it is Workforce Development Month. September is Workforce Development Month, so let's talk about it a little bit. From LABI's perspective, what are we looking at to lead things off?
Yeah, Brian. Well, first of all, before we look forward, I want to look back just a little bit to this last session. I think it's very encouraging to be in education and workforce development right now because we're all out of our silos. Everyone is working towards the same goal and talking to each other, which I think is huge. But I want to highlight a huge win from last session, which was the one-door bills. And I think we've talked about this on your show before, Brian, but one door is an effort to make getting back into the workforce as easy as possible for those who are struggling to find work or they've been out of the workforce for a number of reasons. The term one door comes from one door to work. So when you go in to find resources to get back into the workforce and find a job, you go through one spot, one door. My friend Jim Patterson at Lobby likes to say it's like you walk into a house and you walk through the front door and out the back door and you have a job. So that's a really big win from this last session, and I'm sure we'll start to see the fruits of that bill come out hopefully pretty soon.
Well, and to just kind of follow up on it, is the reason one door is so important is because being without a job shouldn't be a full-time job.
Right, exactly. And under our previous system, you went to one agency for one resource, one agency for another resource. And so it's consolidating all of those responsibilities into one spot under the Workforce Commission. So we were very supportive of that effort, and it just makes sense. We want to simplify everything for those trying to get back into the workforce.
Yeah, absolutely. If you had your week mapped out to make one stop on a Monday, one stop on a Tuesday, one stop on a Thursday, well, before you know it, half your week is gone. If you just need to make the first half of your Monday goes through the one door, you got a lot more week to go seeking a job.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, if you have to spend your whole week trying to get everything you need to get back into the workforce, that's very discouraging. So a lot of folks just don't have the time and they don't have the energy to go through all those steps. Now that this is all being consolidated under the Workforce Commission, for the most part, there's still some responsibilities of DCFS and others, but it's going to be much easier for folks to get employment.
Well, yeah, and I mean, not to, excuse make, but there's physics here. A body in motion will stay in motion, a body at rest will stay at rest. It's just
right.
there's a certain level of that when getting back into the game is concerned.
Absolutely. So that we were like I said, very supportive of that bill, and we're excited to see the full, the full legislative package go into effect this year.
That is one aspect of what got done during the legislative session. Let's keep it moving because there's a number of different levels to this. It starts at the very, very earliest. Workforce development starts with a good education.
Absolutely, a good education. But I would even back it up just a little bit further, Brian, to early childhood investment. We like to say at Lobby, early childhood investment in education is a workforce issue because for a lot of folks, it doesn't necessarily pay to work because you spend your entire paycheck on childcare. If you're lucky, because there's a lot of folks that don't even have access to quality early childcare. So this is a twofold problem, we like to say. So obviously we want to make sure that our youngest learners are ready for kindergarten when they get into school, but it's also a workforce development issue in the sense that we want to make sure parents are able to find a job and stay in the workforce. We released a report last year, and we actually are going to be releasing a report hopefully in October with the Louisiana Policy Institute for Children, making the business case for early childhood education investment. So this is a huge problem for Louisiana. We have long advocated for more quality early child care options, not only for the children, it's also for parents to make sure that we can get them back into the workforce. Especially, Brian, when you look at where Louisiana is as far as attracting businesses, we have four, you can correct me if I'm wrong, 4 multi-billion-dollar projects coming to Louisiana, and we have to have the workforce to support those jobs.
I believe it's 4. The total between all those, when you say multi-billion, it's over 60 billion at this point, and that number just continues to rise. Mary Beth, I want to ask you about the quality early childhood. Is the message still getting split down the middle here? Because every time you and I have talked about it, it's a twofold argument. Number one, you're helping prepare the children to hit kindergarten, already with their feet underneath them, already with a skill set that makes them kindergarten ready. But on the other side, it is freeing up the parents to where, or the parent who would otherwise be paying too much for daycare in order to hit the workforce. But you don't want to water down the early childhood investment by calling it daycare. It's a nuanced message, to be sure.
Absolutely. That's a good point, Brian. I think a lot of our efforts as an organization has been educating those folks in the legislature, along with our friends at LPIC, Better Louisiana, and some others, on what early childhood investment actually is. Like you said, it's not babysitting. This isn't going to, our students or our youngest learners need high quality education and brain development, because I believe it's 90% of a child's brain is formed by the age of 4. So how are we properly investing in them and making sure that they have the resources they need and the social interaction and investment in order to be successful in kindergarten? Because we hear stories all the time from teachers. I have friends that are teachers that some students come in to kindergarten on day 1 and they've never even sat in a desk before. So making this educating legislators as to why this is so critical, and why it's not babysitting. I think it's just, another form. Let's think of it as an extension of K through 12. And so that's why we've been so vocal about this, and something that we will continue to focus on throughout, the legislative session, but in other ways as well.
Talk about that K through 12 leg of the marathon, if you will. And Mary Beth Hughes Derrickson from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry is our guest. Talk about that K through 12 end of it. There's a lot of intertwining here. You want early childhood to be in lockstep with getting them ready for K through 12. You want K through, let's say K through 8 to get ready for 9 through 12. And you want 9 through 12 to get ready for either a college path or a workforce path. That's a lot of interweaving going on there. How much was done during we call it the last 2 legislative sessions, and how much is on the table for upcoming years to make sure that weaving is done, seamlessly?
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I like to think of it as one giant workforce pipeline from cradle to career. So the K through 12 space is kind of the middle of that pipeline. And lots have been done over the past 2 years, obviously with Bessie and the leadership of Dr. Brumley, especially when it comes to our accountability formula. So we've talked a lot about the new focus on work-based learning, getting students into apprenticeships and internships in their local area, so that they're exposed to more career options, but also just to get work-based to be in the workplace, learning how to be a professional and learning those basic skills before they leave high school and go into the job market, if that is their path going straight to career. So we were obviously very supportive of that. My message to all of Louisiana businesses is think about opening up your doors to students. We've had a couple of member companies that have created an internship or apprenticeship program in light of this new formula and are seeing great success because they view it as investing in their workforce, in their future workforce. So that has been big, but I also want to mention, I can't let an interview go by without mentioning all of the wins we've had in K through 12, Brian. I think when we talked about this the last time I was on your show.
No, I'll talk about it every time because they're big wins and they're setting the table for the future.
Right, absolutely. Well, I want to mention, as a result of the third grade math literacy screener, our fourth grade reading scores have gone up from 42 ranked nationally to number 16. That's how much we have grown over the past 2 years. So across the board in K through 12, we are now number 32 nationally, whereas before we were in the mid 40s. Just under Dr. Brumley's leadership and getting back to basics and taking some pressure off of teachers. I mean, that's who we need to be celebrating here as our teachers for all of their hard work. But some huge wins in K through 12. But the work isn't over. And so we're looking at ways to support folks after high school, whether it be increasing funding for the MJ Foster program, which is very near and dear to Lobby's heart, other ways to get folks into high-wage, in-demand jobs, especially given all of the economic investment coming to our state.
High-wage, in-demand jobs. Let's follow up on that term because it's not just about jobs. I mean, you can have a job and still be underemployed. You can have a job and still be, not earning enough to feed your family. High wage, in-demand jobs is important. How do we separate the good from the bad to make sure that the good are the ones we can, the jobs we can fill first?
Sure. Well, I think last session we saw a number of bills aim to do just that, trying to get an ROI on a lot of these scholarship programs, which programs they support, which programs are eligible for like MJ Foster dollars or other programs like that, because we want to make sure our kids, and also industry-based credentials. There was a bill by Jason Hughes this past year, which passed and was signed by the governor, to do an ROI on industry-based credentials so that we make sure that instead of, folks taking basket weaving, for example, which basket weaving gets a bad rap because we use that example all the time, but it's making sure that it is based on regional workforce needs where you can get a high wage in demand job rather than a course that will that won't serve you very well afterwards. So I think the legislature is all on the same page with this. We're trying to do, make sure we have an ROI on all of these programs to make sure that they align with the new investment coming to Louisiana.
Yeah, you try finding a good basket weaver when you need one. You want to talk about in demand.
I know,
There's
right?
nobody filling that gap in the marketplace.
Absolutely.
We've got just a couple minutes left with Mary Beth Hughes Derrickson from the Louisiana Association of Business and Industry. In these last couple minutes, Mary Beth, talk about alignment here because we're doing a lot on a state level, but there's trickle up and trickle down from there to make sure statewide we're in line with what's going on, not just federally, but trend-wise nationally. And then there's down to the local level because that's where the real government happens as well.
Absolutely. Well, I think we've seen a lot of growth in that area over the past 2 years because we're having some really big conversations and critical conversations around workforce development. And it's now, like I said earlier, from the agency level, it seems like everyone is out of their silos and talking. But I would say from the local level as well. Obviously, anytime you introduce something new like the K through 12 accountability formula, there's going to be some pushback. Change is hard. But I think we're seeing, and I just want to mention this school year, 25-26, is the first year that the K through 12 accountability formula is going into effect. But I do think that the formula has been widely accepted now, and so we're all, singing from the same song, I like to say.
Yep.
But obviously our work isn't done. So I look forward to, having more of those conversations with Secretary Showen, Dr. Brumley, and Bessie to make sure we make our workforce pipeline as streamlined and as simple as possible for folks to get into the workforce.
Foot stays on the gas pedal. Mary Beth, thank you so much for a couple minutes.
Thanks, Brian. Have a good day.
You do the same. 7:50. Here's your money now. You can't shut down TikTok. Where else am I going to order my ashwagandha? What? It's the path to not being an alcoholic is being able to, ashwagandha takes the edge off at the end of the night. Oh, so does a glass of vodka, but like one of them's not healthy for me. A glass of vodka.
Glass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, did any of y'all go to the Charlie Kirk thing Friday night? And if you did, I'm sorry I missed you.
Yeah, I wish I could have made it. It looked like it was a good event.
You what?
Looked like it was a fantastic event.
It was.
Wish I could have made it. Any cuts here or no? There was no cuts.
The Chief Morse cut.
Oh yeah, I got those. I got those.
I'm desperately looking for the news story that was attached to it. Sure. 7:55, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Coming up in our third hour, we'll chat about everything under the sun with Moon Griffon, and Kyle Callihan is going to stop by, our good buddy, who we speak with him whenever there's an event coming up that really gets us active and involved. Tulsa Towers coming to Baton Rouge. We're going to talk about that. Before we get to our next topic, I want to remind you about the folks over at Breck. Breck doing so much work right now. As far as Imagine Your Parks 3, as far as really getting into the financials of getting caught up on the financials of the last few years. I want to not look big picture, not look back on the past, but want to look in just the immediacy of our ability to utilize Breck as an accelerant to a stronger community. I can tell you right now, 6 o'clock this afternoon, I'll be out at Independence Park. Kids got cross-country practice. I'll be out at Independence Park. And when I get out there, what I'm going to see is over on the Lobdell side, you're going to see a football practice going on. That parking lot behind Independence Theater, you're probably going to see either a dance group or a cheerleader practice going on. You're going to see a number of soccer teams getting their practice in. Smack dab in the middle, you've got the Goodwood branch of the library. It's just such a great example of what community can be. Want to learn more? Visit breck.org. Want to find the park nearest you? Visit breck.org. Want to take advantage of the classes and offerings they have? Visit breck.org. So in our top stories and trending, headline, this came across on Saturday, 12:41 p.m. It was per the Washington Post, but I'm grabbing it from WBRZ. The Trump administration has a plan ready that would send 1,000 National Guard troops to Baton Rouge and New Orleans. The plan, confirmed by the Pentagon, would have National Guard troops support law enforcement in Louisiana's urban centers, but hinges on a formal request from the governor, which the governor's been vocally in support of that before. According to the Washington Post, troops would help with drug enforcement and communication support in the current plan. The report comes after Trump has made more than one mention of sending troops to New Orleans in the last several days. This is the first we're hearing of the possibility of Baton Rouge being in the mix on this. Last Tuesday, Baton Rouge Police Chief T.J. Morse was in studio, and I asked him, at the time I asked him, it was a hypothetical. But at the time, he did give this answer. I said, would this be encouraged? And honestly, logistically, what would it look like?
Yeah, so interesting topic to discuss. And to be honest with you, I don't know how it would work. The military doesn't have any arrest powers. They wouldn't be able to just start patrolling the streets and arrest somebody for burglary, per se. But on the other hand, as I say all the time, we're 150 officers short. So we need help from everywhere, right? We need the community's help for reporting crimes. We need the community's help for locking up their cars and not letting their cars get broken into. All the community programs to keep the juveniles from committing crimes and giving them, things to do after school and work and jobs. And so we've just coming off this summer, we already work really, really well with other local, state, and federal officials. We worked with the DEA, ATF, FBI. We have officers assigned to all those task forces. And we did a big summer operation that we announced the results of just a couple of weeks ago. Over 100 arrests, mostly of those violent gang members. Seized a lot of guns, drugs. We got, I saw about 60 were getting federally indicted. So, things like that are really, really helping with our low manpower.
Okay. So FBI, DEA, these might be better opportunities to actually have people arrest folks. But what would it look like on the National Guard front? By the way, the chief did say, and I'm not going to play the other cut because there's no time. The chief did say any and all help is welcome. I mean, I'm oversimplifying his answer, but any and all help is welcome. It's just a matter of figuring out how to utilize them. So what would you do with National Guard troops once you got them here? Would there be an intelligence gathering factor? A force presence when executing warrants? I mean, if you're busting up a drug house, you need some dudes, right? Just a force presence, would that be how they would be utilized? It's moving from hypothetical closer to reality, so we get to spend some time coming up to get into the nuts and bolts of it. Hour 3 is next. You know, I gotta tell you, I'm working on something for later on in the week. Talk about de-escalating the political rhetoric. And as I'm sifting my way through it, I'm realizing I need to cool it on my Google searches because I'm going to end up on some kind of list because I'm just searching out hate groups right now. I'm searching out what's being labeled as hate groups.
Gotta be careful.
Right?
They're watching.
I know. Let me go let Absolutely. Y'all can hang back. I apologize. The weekend people raided the fridge, or else we would have waters for you. The Keurig does work, but it might need to be refilled. So yeah, just we got plenty of time. Y'all at 8:35. Yeah, you get 12 hours working at LSU, and then yesterday emceeing or narrating the concert at St. Joe's. Yeah. No, and during football season, so I work for LSU Sports Properties. It's a side hustle. So my Saturdays in the fall go cross country meet, possible basketball practice, straight to Kansas. So, and then like home from one. Do what? Oh, are you? You were out there for a physical last weekend? Four? Fantastic. Okay. Well, shit, never mind. No, you got out of there before it got hot. Yeah. Oh, we're Our Lady of Mercy. So, yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay. Well, y'all do some amazing things. Y'all are growing in St. John doing that. Yeah. Yeah. Love it. All right. Do what? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. That no. I just had you down for yeah. That'll be as we get closer. So hopefully that'll be. We're still we have pretty good. Okay. And the game, the goal was two what? 250. That's what I thought. Yeah. All right. We're doing well. I'll take a week out. Let people see the weather. They were talking about rain. You have your people just smoke the dollars for the end, but you'll burn. Yeah. We wait like the week before. Like not raining burning like that. Just keep that window open. Right. No, my pleasure. Rolling over to 806 to Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Brian here with you, JP producing. We have ticked up a little bit on the temperature front. We are now up to 74 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Busy hour for you this hour. Mo Griffon coming up about 10 minutes from right now. Kyle Callihan and Tunnels to Towers going to be joining us at 8:35. We've got this day in history coming up in just a little bit. JP, I stepped out, didn't get to hear traffic. Were you editing or were you listening?
I'm sorry, I had one ear.
No. The life of the producer is to have one ear on everything, and one ear on everything else. So I don't know if this was reported in our traffic or not, but I'm grabbing it from WBRZ. If it was reported in our traffic, it is worth reiterating. 2 lanes of I-12 westbound near the Amite River are closed after a crash this morning. It happened around 7:30, and it is pushing things back greatly. If you are coming in from Denham Springs, you will actually see delays begin, I want to say, delays begin before Jubin and carry all the way up to the crash. WBRZ also reporting that first responders were called to the scene. So that will that brings a second level of heightened awareness to the accident. I will tell you this right now, though, if you're thinking about rerouting, Florida is already stacked up as well. So if there's a third route you might be thinking of, have at it. Otherwise, just expect further delays. Expect things to be running slower than normal as you make your commute in from Livingston Parish or points beyond. All right, it is time for This Day in History. Let's roll.
All right. It was on this day, 1916, where the first use of tanks are used in warfare. Britain's Mark I Little Willies at the Battle of, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that British word, part of the Battle of the Somme.
Okay.
So, yeah, tanks first used here in 1916.
The site that I use skips past the battle's name as well.
It does?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It depends on the website. Actually, it's probably coming from my own. No, I'm kidding. 1949, The Lone Ranger premieres on ABC.
Awesome.
Were you a Lone Ranger guy?
No.
No.
Although it was originally a radio series, and I missed the
And not to say you're that old. I just figured the reruns and things like that.
And even the reruns are too old for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, 1949, dude. Come on.
Yeah, well, I know. Just saying, Hey, 1965, this is really cool. The Ford Motor Company became the first automaker to offer an 8-track tape player as an option for their entire line of vehicles on sale in the U.S. Get this, tapes were initially only available at auto parts stores as home 8-track equipment was still a year away.
Really?
So really ahead of the game there.
Very much so.
Maybe they were blasting their Otis Redding because that same year, Otis Redding released his third studio album, Otis Blue. So
awesome.
Really cool stuff. It was recorded in a 24-hour period over the dates of July 9th and 10th.
A big Otis Redding guy.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Of course, among the songs on there, Respect, Old Man Trouble, Down in the Valley as well. The following year, U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson, responding to a sniper attack at the University of Texas at Austin, writes a letter to the United States Congress urging the enactment of gun control legislation. The next year, 1977, the Chips, the TV drama Chips premieres. So, yeah. Really cool stuff there.
Nice.
The year 1990, Steve Miller Band had a UK #1 with the song The Joker 16 years after its initial release.
Wait, The Joke? Oh, okay.
Yep.
So, yeah. It's like a recurrent.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's it.
Hey,
Thanks to a show called
let's go
The
back
Great
to 1978.
Deal. Okay.
1978, Muhammad Ali won the World Heavyweight Boxing Championship for the third time.
Oh, man.
He beat Leon Spinks to do it. You know where?
Where?
Superdome.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
man.
New Orleans history right there.
Yeah, I love that.
While we're talking New Orleans history, before I hand it back over to you real quick.
Yeah.
It was on this day in 1977 that King Tut, well, not King Tut himself, but like the King Tut, whatever, sarcophagus, whatever it was.
Yeah.
That's when King Tut arrived to New Orleans on this day in 1977. Cool. And it was on this day in 2009 that the Bensons bought Benson Tower.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that. 1993, the single I Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That was released by Meatloaf.
Okay. Always thought that was a terrible song, but that's just me.
What?
Literally just me. I know. On an island there.
Hey, 2014, Apple released a tool to remove U2's new album from its customers' iTunes account 6 days after giving away the music for free.
Ooh.
Some users had complained about the fact that their latest album, Songs of Innocence, had automatically been downloaded to their devices without their permission.
Okay.
So, hey, keeping it with U2, did you know in 1997 a 34-year-old man was awarded more than 20 pounds, which would be like $27,000 in U.S. currency, by a French court after he lost his hearing when he stood too close to loudspeakers at a U2 concert?
Did not know that.
He's been,
You stand close to the speakers at a concert and you complain you're losing your hearing?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, whatever.
and to you too.
You know what? The coffee's hot, boss. Don't pour it on your lap.
Man, I'm telling you.
Stupid.
Bono didn't find what he was looking for, but this guy apparently
Yeah.
did. Let's see. Anything else on this day? Oh, you know what? I got one more thing.
Okay.
A year ago, man arrested and charged with the attempted assassination of former President U.S. Donald Trump.
There you go.
Spotted while the presidential candidate was playing golf.
There you
So
go.
that happened.
Birthdays?
Let's William Howard Taft. We'll start there.
Okay.
Prince Harry as well. Tommy
Yep.
Lee Jones.
Yep.
Also actor Tom Hardy as well today.
Okay.
Let's see. Oliver Stone as
Got
well.
Oliver Stone's on the
That's a
list.
big one.
Absolutely.
Anybody else on your end?
Yeah, I got a couple more on my end. Want to start, first of all, before we get to the sports list, retired Lieutenant General Russell Honore. It's his birthday today.
Awesome.
Yeah, happy birthday
Very
to
good.
Russell Honore from his good friend Harold. It's Dan Marino's birthday. It's Pete Carroll's birthday as well. Those are the two on from sports that I had. And it's also British author Agatha Christie.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Did you have anybody else on the death side? I got Johnny Ramone.
I got Johnny Ramone died on this day in 2004.
Yeah.
And I don't think I had any other ones.
Yeah. Let's see. As far as national days go here, International Day of Democracy.
Okay.
We want to go with that?
We can go with that.
It's also Cheese Toast Day.
Nope. Cheese toast?
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Whatever.
National Dare Day. D-A-R.
No. Oh.
Good stuff.
Oh, I got one for you.
Ooh, what?
Died on this day in 1989. Robert Penn Warren. Yeah.
Why did he even he didn't even crack the top list on this?
No.
What the heck?
I know. But, noted author from Robert, I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through to get the date he was born, how old he was when he died. Shoot. Hey, born 1905, died 1909. So, all right, we're running long here. It's 8:13 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Of course, This Day in History presented by the folks over at 5 Star Printing. 271-4096 is the phone number, 271-4096. Is it time for a refresh for anything in your office? Talking business cards, talking brochures, talking signs, talking banners. You got something special you're promoting? Put the big banner out there. It is a call to attention, and Danny and his team at 5 Star Printing and Signs do it better than anybody else out there. Oh, wait, vehicle wraps. Vehicle wraps. We're seeing it more and more. When you want to make sure your brand is front and center, why not have it wrapped around your vehicle? They do a fantastic job. Got in this game I guess it's a couple of years ago now, and they just keep getting better and better at it. 271-4096, printshop5.com. Of course, it is about to be political season, not a whole lot on the ballot, but if you are on the ballot, you need to call Danny, 271-4096 for 5 Star Printing and Signs. Oh, so tired. Oh, man. Oh. What? You got Moon? 817 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. All right, time to check in as we do every Monday with our own Moon Griffon. You hear him right here, 9 to 11 on Talk 107.3 FM. You hear him statewide, 9 to 11 on Talk 107.3. Moon, how are you, brother?
Hey, Brian, doing good, man. Tigers got a big victory, so everything ought to be good in Louisiana.
You would think, but, a very innocuous question in a press conference after the game, and, boy, the coach lit Michael Cobble up, man.
You talking about when he said we won the game?
Yeah. I mean, the question was about why don't we have a run game?
Listen, I can understand that. First of all, if you don't forget, Coach Kelly was run over during the game. He was hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
He's thinking, man, that's a tough football game out there. You got to run over. And I thought, God, I didn't think he'd get up, but he did. I can see the frustration from people in the media asking a question. People think LSU ought to be winning 55-0 every game. And all Kelly was trying to explain is this is an SEC game. It's a rivalry game. And I just think that's why he did what he did. Look what won. My God. He knows that offense ain't clicking. Matter of fact, the last person you have to tell that the offense is not doing what all the pre-hype was is Brian Kelly. He's the last person. So he was very defensive. I get it. But I understand what he was doing because you 1-0, you're 3-0, you're number 3 in the country. And really, at the end of the day, when the season's over, if they win the national championship or the SEC championship, it ain't gonna matter how they won. It's gonna be the fact that they did win. So I kind of get it in a way, but it's tough answering those questions because you beat a team, and I know they're struggling, but so is Clemson. But you won an SEC game. You only got 7 more to go. And I get it.
No, I understand from that end, but it's still the reporter's job to ask the question. Minus one run, you were averaging 2.1 yards a carry on the night. Averaging 2.1 yards a carry isn't going to get it done long term, and they have been averaging a whole lot better than that before last night. So, I understand that Brian Kelly knows there's a problem, or if the first person is going to know there's a problem is the head coach. I understand that, but it's still the reporter's job to ask the question.
I don't have a problem with any questions. All I'm telling you is I see why he was a little frustrated with it. They're gonna go back to the drawing board. Everybody knows they want to run the ball and they want to be able to throw it a little better too. So, but I do think it's still a big win in the big picture.
Huge.
And I can understand being a little frustrated. But you're right, Brian. The reporter has the right to ask any question, but I want everybody to remember a coach has a right to answer it the way he wants to answer it too. It kind of goes both ways.
Yeah, and I tend to think that because he answered the question the way he answered the question, it triggered a nerve. He peeled the scab off a wound. You want to go in saying we won the ball game. We're now 3-0. We're 1-0 in conference, and we beat a team who was in the top 10 at the time we played them. But man, it's just I don't think anybody's asking LSU to win 70-0, but maybe getting more than 2 yards a carry is worthy of some follow up right there.
Well, I'm sure that. Whatever they do to fix it or to work on fixing it, you're going to have to watch on the field and see if it works because he's not going to get out there and say, here's what we're doing wrong. He's going to tell his team what they're doing wrong. And but I'll still say this. You can ask any questions, but a coach has a right to be angry sometimes too. And I'm sure he's angry that they're not running the ball.
No,
I'm sure he is.
I'm sure he is as well. I don't know what's wrong with the answer of, the numbers aren't where we want them. We're managing to win anyway. We choose to celebrate the latter. I tell you who I feel bad for.
Think about this, Brian.
Yeah.
If they change it and turn it around, now they're going to do it against Southeastern. I'm not going to count that. But let's say they go to Ole Miss, and I'm not cutting Southeastern. It's just
no. Feel free to cut. I feel bad for Frank Selfo this week because they are going to get. You think Michael Cobble got it bad in that room? Wait till you see what happens on the field Saturday night. Southeastern's going to get the brunt of it.
Frank Selfo played baseball at Northeast at the time when I was up there for basketball. I know Frank Selfo really, really well, and it's a money game, and we all understand. But when they go to Ole Miss, let's see what changes are made then to run the football and score more points. But just think if they do start scoring points and they do make the adjustments that Coach Kelly needs to make, they're going to really be good up the road because it looks like the defense is doing their job. So, and I still question all that, too, because Clemson looked like it was a fraud. Florida's not that well. Of course, they played Tech. I gotta wait to see you get into some of these games. And like Ole Miss is known for scoring. You let LSU hold Ole Miss to 10 points. That's gonna be just unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. But the flip side of that is if you've got the longevity as a Tiger fan, you remember the Les Miles days, where where it's you can't be one dimensional in today's football games. So it's.
No, I agree. But it's listen, long year left. Even though 25% of the season's already gone, which is almost in shock.
No, yeah, it does. It happens quicker than you would like. Oh wait, hang on, Moon. I'm just getting this in. Okay, yeah. DJ Lagway just threw another interception. It's
you were laughing at me, but I went to bed after he threw the last one. I said, LSU got it. I went to bed, and I went to take a shower, and my phone was on, and my brother texted me. He threw another one. I didn't think they were going to get the ball back for him to throw another one.
He was. Here's the thing. Garrett Nussmeier only completed 10 more passes to Tigers than DJ Lagway did.
Yeah.
How about that? How about that for a number?
Oh, man, I tell you what, the jokes are going to fly, but I don't think the jokes are going to be flying much around Napier. He's got problems now because of the loss the week before, not that loss. Yep. I mean, it's just it. But it's fun. It's college football. It's back, and it's back wide open, man.
We got a lot more to talk about other than just football. Talk with Moon Griffon, who you will hear right here from 9 to 11 this morning. Be remiss if we didn't pivot over to talk a little bit about Charlie Kirk. Moon, I got the opportunity to go to the vigil at LSU's Union Theater on Friday night. It was equal parts remembrance and motivation. I mean, it was very, very well done. Jeff Landry gave a great speech. Speaker Mike Johnson gave an equally as great speech. And I got to tell you, what I'm looking at right now is the reaction isn't punching down, but it's being motivating.
Yeah. I had, to be honest with you, Brian, my bride was out of the state. Of course, I got a special needs child, and so when one of us is gone like that, the other one has to stay home. I was invited to that.
Mm-hmm.
I was invited to come to that thing, and I just couldn't. I had my daughter. It was no way. I'm actually going to one in Shreveport tomorrow and speak at it. It's an outdoor event, and I'm going to speak at one tomorrow night. But I really wanted to go to that. What they've done is, Brian, my big problem with all this is that how evil are people to enjoy watching somebody be murdered and assassinated? And that I can't let go of that. Why are people celebrating? Me and you can disagree politically. I don't want to hurt you. I didn't like Barack Obama. I couldn't stand him. Barack Obama would knock on my house and say, hey, can I use your phone? I say, yes, sir, Mr. President, come on in and use the phone. But never. So when people are that evil is, much as I believe in Christ, there's an evil side. And some of these people are so evil. And all this guy was doing, I watched a lot of clip on him for years. All he did was went in the cities, went in these with these young people in these colleges and universities where a lot of our problems are coming up. And he sat down and talked. If some didn't want to talk, they hollering, cursing. He would hand them the microphone.
Yeah.
He would say, hey, tell me what you want to talk about. And he addressed everything with everybody. And I thought it was America. It was freedom to go talk on a college campus, freedom of speech. They could come in and curse him and holler at him. He kept his cool. And he was a great man of God, but he also was a great pioneer in the youth movement of changing our country back to what people would like to see it become. And by the way, there's now 22,000 people have requested a chapter for Turning Point USA in these schools. 22,000.
Wow.
Since then. That's a big number, Brian.
It is.
He did have an effect. And by the way, Brian, I also read that he, with Donald Trump's victory, a lot of these young people went to vote for him. They were scared of him because they also thought he was a presidential candidate maybe 8-10 years up the road. So there's a lot to it, but it's a shame that people got to take hate and then destroy a dad, a wife, a husband. They just destroyed a man's life, and so it affected all these other people. And I'm glad you got to go. By the way, did you report what you saw? It was a well-run event, I take it.
It was absolutely what it was supposed to be. It was absolutely, yeah. I got some posts up on Talk 107.3's Facebook page. I did a segment on it earlier this morning, and yeah, it was reverent, very, very reverent, but also very motivating as well. And it's all looking inward. It's all like nothing is exterior. So Moon, I sat outside after it was over, and I just kept grabbing college students as they were coming out and asking them one simple question each: what did Charlie Kirk mean to you? And every single person that walked by, the overwhelming response was, Charlie gave me the courage to be who I am. Charlie gave me the courage to not be embarrassed that I have conservative ideals. And nothing was projected outwardly. Nothing would, nobody said like, Charlie told me to beat the libs. No, there was none of that. It was all inward and reflective. And that was my biggest takeaway, was let's focus on ourselves and not on our opponents. And I very, very carefully use the word opponent and not enemy.
Yeah, I just think he had an effect on people. It was a positive, unless you hate. You can. I thought what he did at these universities, just open a mic. I mean, I don't even do that on my radio program much. You don't either.
Right.
Yeah, you sit down and open the mic. Say, let's go. And it was very refreshing. And so I think that's what people did. They looked at him and they going, you know what? I'm gonna learn to be myself. I'm gonna learn to be who I am. I'm gonna learn, if I need to say something, I'm gonna say it. And you can do it in a way, Brian. It doesn't have to be divisive. You know, when a lot of times when the media says this guy's divisive, this guy, that guy, this guy's divisive, and you really listen to them, they're really not divisive. You disagree with them, so you call them divisive.
Right.
And that's a wrong labeling. If we're going to have free speech and open policies here in the United States of America, I thought he was one guy that set the example.
Well,
by the way, Brian, there's one other story that I do want to mention before I get out of here, and I know I have limited time, but I don't know if you saw this, but the U.S. Justice Department, you know that big suit that John Carmouche won in the state court?
Yeah.
$750 million suit.
Yeah.
I mean, and they won. Well, this broke the other day, and I don't know if you saw it. The U.S. Justice Department stepped in on Chevron's side, okay, and said, send this back to the federal court. It does not belong in state court. Remember, the federal court already ruled in this case, that what happened down there was the federal government cutting them canals and things like that because we were in a war. They needed to get their all and whatever they were getting out of there. The federal government caused the problem, not the oil companies. This is gigantic.
Yeah.
Gigantic if it happens. Carmouche and the 42 suits behind him can go take a flying leap. This is big, really big.
No, it is, and it's going to be one that we're dialed in on, to be sure. I know the Pelican Institute is all in on this, so we'll probably get Earth Bomber on sometime before the week is over. In the meanwhile, you got a show to get to. Always appreciate the time, brother. We'll see you soon.
Hey, Brian, I'm glad you got to go, Brian. I wish I could have been there with you, man.
Yeah, I wish you could have as well. It was well done. We'll talk to you soon,
Thanks, man.
Later. Here's news. Carrie, what's your last name? H-A-R-T. And title? And is this the first event in the state or the first event in Baton Rouge for Tunnels to Tunnels? Okay. Just out on my own thumb. It's brand new thumb.
It's a new thumb?
Aftermarket parts.
I love it.
So we'll start with the backstory, what Tunnels to Towers is, how it came to be, and then kind of get into your story, like what was your connection to it, or what is your connection to it.
Okay.
And then what in the world would make you want to bring this guy on. And then we'll get to the
Short straw.
Short straw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, Kyle's my friend from BRPD. Worked with my husband.
Okay.
I know he loves Tunnels to Towers, and when he heard about this, he said, "I want in." That's the short story.
Something like that. That sounds pretty. Yeah, I'm chilling. Just getting this knocked out. And because of what we're doing with you, I did get a phone call. The Marine Corps called me, and after your event, they said, "Will you be downtown? We're doing a Marine Corps party. Can you DJ the party?" I'm like, so I'm staying the night at the Hilton. After the event, I'm going straight from yours to. And I said, "What?" And they said,
Is this the one where they break out the new beer every year?
No, that's veterans offenders.
Oh.
This is a whole another, like, lieutenant colonel. Somebody knew. Same thing with Derrick Williams knew that I DJ and was like, "Hey man, where'd you like to cut up a little bit?" I'm like, "I'll be all right." They said, "Man, would you mind just bringing your shit to the Hilton?" I'm like, "I'm doing." They said, "Oh no, you'll be downtown already. Just come around the corner."
Just scooch over.
We start at 4 o'clock.
Have I talked to you since Zach's basketball tournament with the NOPD? You know NOPD had a junior from UNO?
Really?
On UNO's roster.
What?
One of those two 6'7" guys.
That was just a monster. You know, you
had
gotta
a
have a ringer.
BRPD versus NOPD basketball
With
game,
legit
and the friggin'
weapons.
NOPD brought in a ringer.
A ringer, yeah. Well, yeah, even the softball tournament brings in some guy that hits the ball a mile. Just Babe Ruth shows up occasionally.
Yeah, man, so
There's no
I
rules
understand,
against
like,
it.
They had NOPD had a former college basketball player who works for NOPD now. He's an actual cop. That's cool. I'm not gonna, he's another guy who's 6'7".
Yeah. They
but
hit two of
he's on the job, so you're cool. But bringing the guy who is
He
just
was-
transferred into
He
UNO.
was a reserve. He does events. He's a reserve guy. We give him a bit like Shaquille O'Neal. He's a reserve.
Yeah, right.
He's a reserve
Right.
man. He doesn't event.
That's what they should have done. Well, I've been in the sheriff's office though.
Yeah.
Shaq is actually a deputy. So
Yeah, EVR, yeah. He wouldn't have ran too much. So he doesn't run too much. He'd just stay on in the paint right next to the rim.
breaking St. Michael's goal.
Yeah. We ain't got no money for that one.
No, we'll be back. We'll be right back. We'll be at St. Michael's this weekend. Morning for the son to run cross country, and then the daughter's got a basketball tournament.
Is it our race this weekend? I think it is.
Yeah, she runs
St. Michael
Okay.
High School, the Bayou Boogie. Is that this weekend?
Is that? Don't make me read emails.
Don't make me lie to you.
No, it probably is.
I'll let my wife read the emails from the coach. I don't.
It probably is. I just tell him to let me know where I should be.
Yeah, where,
Right.
when?
Right. That means I'll be out there at 5:30 probably instead of 7.
No,
I don't miss those
St.
days.
George Dragon Dash Saturday at Highland Road Park.
I don't miss that. One thing about being a dad of a 20-year-olds now that my kids are college out, I don't miss 6 a.m. soccer games or cross-country meets or
Girls race at
Oh,
2:30, boys at 11.
That is ours then because we host it in conjunction. We host the high school in conjunction with the Dragon Dash. I was like, there's no way they put our meet on homecoming weekend, the following weekend. I knew it was sometime in September.
You got that. You young parents, I envy y'all.
We're tired all the
A lot
time.
of Red Bull.
Exactly. No, I'm
Tired
with
all
you,
the
man.
time.
I was a monster drinker, man. I got I was coaching 12 soccer, and one of the parents came up to me and she grabbed my monster and she said, "You can't drink this no more." I was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm trying to wake up and be the kids." Said, "You speak way too fast. You're already hyped. No more monster for you." I said, "It's a low carb. It keeps me skinny." There's like, no more monster for you.
And meanwhile, I'm told I will never lose weight as long as I'm drinking energy drinks.
Yeah, no more monster. One of the parents went up to me and said, "Who's authorizing Coach Kyle to drink monster?" My wife said, "He buys them by the case." It's only on game day. Too funny. Yep. And then, like I said, being the coach, you got to bring the early, got to bring the tents. I mean, you're in charge of so much.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got to shut down, so you're there an hour on both sides of the event. Like, it's just insane when you're the coach, man. So I don't miss it. To say all that, I can sleep in a little bit. Wake up on Saturday, I'm like, what I got to do? Nothing. This is amazing. Miss it, yeah. It's cool. And then this fate would have, I got your event Saturday morning. I got Marines Saturday night. Then the next weekend, you remember Wendy Richard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So her brother, her son's getting married. So I'm doing his wedding that Saturday, the next Saturday. Yeah. But he's getting married somewhere in like called AZ Ranch, some kind of like location where they do all of it. I like Mandeville area, so I got 3. Yeah, I go from having no DJ nothings to all of a sudden just.
I'm down to six gigs a year now DJing.
If I don't get a phone call from, it ain't happening. Unless Tara could like, I need you to make music. I'm like, I'll play music.
Yeah, I've got like 2 run walks that like I love an 8 a.m. DJ gig.
Yeah.
Zero pressure, and you're done like with your whole day left in front of you.
This is a 4 to midnight. The Marines are 4 p.m. to midnight.
838 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. We are a month and 3 days away from an inaugural event, at least as far as Baton Rouge is concerned. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation will have a 5K run walk in Baton Rouge, and I want to welcome back to the show Kyle Callihan, and welcome to the show Carrie Hart. How y'all doing this morning?
Good.
Yes. Monday morning.
Yes, glad to have you both on this morning, and especially glad to be talking about this because it. When you talk about the legacy of 9/11, and you talk about, you can see the best in people in the worst of times. Tunnel to Towers is one of those opportunities to live out a legacy, to be sure. I tell you what, let's start there, Carrie. Let's start a little bit about for those that aren't familiar with Tunnel to Towers. What is it?
Sure. So the Tunnel to Towers Foundation was created in honor of Stephen Sealer, and it was created after the events of 9/11. Stephen Sealer was a firefighter with the New York Fire Department. He was actually off duty that day, the day that the Twin Towers went down, and he was actually on his way to play golf with his brothers when he got the call over his radio. And he called his wife and said, call my brothers, not going to make it today. I've got to go back. So when the call came over the scanner, turned his truck around, strapped on the bunker gear, and ran through the Brooklyn Tunnel all the way to the Twin Towers that day to help with the aftermath of 9/11. And unfortunately, Stephen Sealer lost his life that day at the age of 34 and left behind 5 young children at home.
I know it's a stupid follow-up question, but it's an important piece of the story. Why did he run?
Because the Brooklyn Tunnel was closed already.
Right. At that point, all traffic, and we forget about the size. We can forget about the size and scope of this, but all traffic was shut down.
Yes.
There was no driving anywhere.
Right.
If he wanted to get there, he had to get there on foot.
On foot with 60 pounds of gear strapped on his back.
Which brought us about to Tunnel to Towers. From its inception through now, talk to me a little bit about how it's grown.
So Tunnel to Towers has grown significantly. They have several different programs. I'm not sure if you're aware of the different programs, but after the 9/11 aftermath, Stephen's siblings said we need to do something to help the families. We need to do something to help Stephen, left behind a wife and 5 young children. And that's how the programs came about. And so they started with the In the Line of Duty programs, which were the mortgage-free homes for fire department, and then expanded into police, and later expanded into the military. And that's what you call your Fallen First Responders program and your Gold Star Home program.
Yes.
From there, they turned it into a homeless veterans program. And so now the next initiative that they're currently working on is to bring homeless veterans off the streets and get them the rehabilitation they need, the mental counseling, get them back in housing and the support that they need to get back on their feet. And because it is the foundation's mission that no veteran should be living on the streets of the country they signed up to protect.
Absolutely. And as it continues to grow, and there's an educational piece that they dive into as well. It was the mortgage-free home and the mortgage-free homes and the homeless veterans initiatives that I think kind of reign supreme over all the rest of it, because after 9/11, we we got into a war that took us years and years and years to get out of, and we had an entire generation of Americans who walked in and saw things that they had never seen, that no person should ever see. Just like on 9/11, all the follow-up was as much PTSD and mental health went down the drain. And to come home and try to readapt, we've seen so many who can't on their own. So having someone, A, acknowledge the problem, B, diagnose what they've acknowledged, and C, make efforts to help it, to get us back out the other end, I think is just phenomenal on all fronts. The mortgage-free homes program, that goes without saying, right?
Right.
I mean, it was just, we saw people do things on 9/11 that just defied logic, running towards burning towers, climbing upstairs in burning towers. I mean, heroic efforts that I don't know that the average citizen can ever replicate.
Absolutely.
So what are we doing to take care of those who do that sort of thing?
Absolutely.
Who have that switch that goes off in their mind? How did you get involved?
I got involved in the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, unfortunately in 2022, and fortunately at the same time. My husband was serving overseas in Syria. Unfortunately, he lost his life while serving overseas, and it wasn't too long afterwards that the Tunnel to Towers Foundation reached out and said, hey, we're going to pay the mortgage on your home. And I said, hold on a second, this can't be right. Nobody just calls you and says, let me pay off the mortgage on your home.
Right.
But they were right, and they did. And we kind of have a personal story in our family. Even my dad, when he found out that the Tunnel to Towers Foundation was going to provide his daughter and his granddaughter with a mortgage-free home, he cried. And I said, are you okay? And he said, yeah. He said, you have no idea, baby. He said, but I've been donating to the foundation since 9/11. And he said, never did I think that my child would be a recipient of a mortgage-free home. And so I tell people that all the time. You never know when it's someone you know, or it could be someone you know. And I love it because in the state of Louisiana alone, Tunnels to Towers Foundation has helped 16 different families. They've provided 3 smart homes for the catastrophically injured veterans.
Okay.
And those are the homes where they'll adapt everything to your needs. They'll, build a special bathroom. They'll have the stovetops that'll go up and down. Whatever those needs are, the cabinets come down to you. They will build that home for you. And then the other 13 were mortgage-free homes, either through fallen police officers, military, or fire.
We're talking with Carrie Ward and Kyle Callihan. Tunnel to Towers Foundation is coming to Baton Rouge with an upcoming run walk. We're going to get to the specific event in just a quick second, but I did want you to reiterate one of the things that you just mentioned in telling your story, and thank you for doing that, by the way. They called you. This isn't something you sought. This isn't something you went out and applied for. They called you.
They do. They reach out almost immediately afterwards if they know your story and they hear about it, and they're very on top of things.
That part is one of the more amazing parts of what they do, to be sure. Because I mean, there's so many different people that would either be too humble or to reach out, or leave that money for somebody else. That sort of mentality. When they call you, it's a different story altogether, and it really, it's a game changer.
Right, and you can reach out.
Of course,
you can also reach out. Yeah.
Of course, but when you've got that avenue available, that's all right. How'd you get hooked up with this guy here? That's how this connection happen to bring him on board.
Well, so my husband, obviously was in the military, but he was also a 14-year veteran of the Baton Rouge Police Department, and Kyle worked with my husband, and I've met Kyle through various different events, and I love his energy, and he found out about this event, and he said, I want to be a part of it, and I said, I want you to be a part of it. So we met for coffee one day, and now we've been rocking and rolling ever since.
Okay, first of all, you didn't air quote energy.
Energy.
And secondly, don't meet for caffeine with this guy. It only exacerbates things.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle, tell me all about it.
So, man, that means she said it. I'm definitely sitting second base. This one, man, her story is amazing. What they're doing is amazing. I'm just excited to be a part of it. I'm also attached to Baton Rouge General Hospital, right? So, local hospital, local vets, local problems, we're down, right? Mm-hmm. So whatever it is we can do, or Kyle can do personally to do this, not to mention as a vet myself, as a BRPD guy, as a guy that knew Casey, Like all that played in the cards, right? So I believe opportunity comes to people when you least expect it, but you're definitely being called to do something. And this is a something, man. So I'm down, and I told her whatever it takes. I'm downloading music as we speak. I'm getting the stage. I'm going to crank up the night before doing packet pickup. We're going to have some food donated by Capital City Grill. So if you come pick up your packet, we'll have some food waiting for you. We're going to be playing some tunes. And then, of course, race day, same thing, man. Going to crank up the tunes, cut up a little bit. And I'm just, like I said, glad to be a part of it. I'm glad to just be a part personally as Kyle, but also as Baton Rouge General Hospital, just being there, showing that we have programs geared toward this, specifically for this issue, like you said earlier, acknowledging the problem, verifying and validating what you see is real, what you need to do is get help, and then offer some resources to do it. So I'm just, like I said, energy, excited, I'm all over it, man.
So much energy, you skipped right past the details of the event.
My bad.
There's a race coming up on October 18th.
In my brain, I did do the details.
No, we know how your brain rolls. Give us the details. What's coming up?
Dude, it's going to be awesome, man. We got the October 18th, man. You got to be there at 8 a.m. That's a Saturday. Nothing going on downtown, nice and quiet. We got come on down at the Bogan, the Bogan Fire Museum on Wall Street. We also got race day packet pickup the Friday the 17th. I think it's 4 to 8. Friday night before the event. So the 17th packet pickup. On the 18th race day, man, we got that on top of chili cook-off. So if your team out there thinks you've got the best chili, we're also doing a chili cook-off. I got my same guy that builds my trophies at all my events. The Wizard of Welding, doing some cool-ass custom trophies. So top runner, top chili gets a custom trophy. Like I said, just excited to be a part of this, and it's first of many to come. We're going to do this again and again.
I can't wait, and I'm so proud to have Tunnel to Towers coming to Baton Rouge. We got to make this a show up and show out event to be sure. By the way, just a side note, it is an away game, so you're not worried about getting out of there to tailgate. To be sure, it is an away game. We're at Vandy that weekend. Where can folks go to register?
You can go to the run sign up. Kyle's got it in his hand. Let me read it directly. You can either email me at Baton Rouge Run at the letter T, number 2, letter T.org, or you can find us on social media. We do have a Baton Rouge Tunnel to Towers Facebook page for the Run Walk that's got the Run Sign Up Genius. But any of you runners that are familiar with Run Sign Up, we have our event listed there. We can go on, click on it, register. And I will say right now we're at the $35 price range. If you register now, our next price range is going to go up on Thursday this week. So
I can tell you, I just Googled Tunnel to Towers Baton Rouge. It takes you right to it. Don't worry about remembering the website. Tunnel to Towers Baton Rouge. It'll take you right to the website. You could register. You could donate if you're not available for that morning. You could sign up to, I believe, volunteers. You're still taking volunteers, correct? Or is that all closed out?
I think we closed out on volunteers recently, but we do. We're taking run signups up into the day of the race. We encourage you to do it before so we can guarantee your T-shirt, but we will take registrations day of as well.
Carrie, Kyle, thank y'all so much.
Oh, you're great.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you for having us.
Appreciate y'all. We got one more break to go. When we come back, we're going to step outside of East Baton Rouge Parish for the outside in. Hey, don't forget Moon Griffon coming your way from 9 to 11 right here on Talk 107.3 FM. And we get the Brian Kilmeade show after that, which should be an interesting installment after he made the rounds on the Sunday morning talk shows over the weekend. And don't forget, Monday Night Football is right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Westwood One's coverage begins at 7 p.m. Quick break. We're coming back next on Talk 107.3.
Good job.
Good job. Thank y'all so much. Hopefully we did okay.
Woo! You did fantastic. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Appreciate you having us.
The chili cook-off is where?
It's on race day at the location. So they're doing a chili cook-off while the run goes, and then we're going to be.
You know where the Bogan Fire Museum is? That little parking lot that's on the side of it. That's where we're going to have everything.
What else is going on the evening before?
Just packet pickup.
Packet pickup.
So 4 to 8 at Bogan Fire. I'm playing a little music. We have Capital Grill donating some food. So come get your packet, get your food on, visit a little bit, see the museum.
I think I'm emceeing live after 5 that Friday evening.
Oh, well, maybe you can announce it. Tell them to come on over.
Yeah. No, live after 5 would kill me if I told people to leave.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
No, I didn't know if y'all had anything going on in conjunction with them.
No, nothing. No. I mean, I know my daughter's doing work with Jay. She's actually doing an internship working for Jay Hoover, helping with Live at Fives and Bandito Fest. So that's a sideline. My daughter's finishing school doing all
That'll
that.
benefit us too, though. If people are already downtown for live
Yeah,
after
I mean,
5, they're like, "Well, I'm
if-
racing tomorrow. Let me run
So
over." and
I
pick
guess
up my
maybe that might.
packet."
So you think it'd be a good idea if I went and harassed Jay and the Live at 5 crew if I could have a hot spot, hot minute at there to promote the run? I didn't think about that. I'll go harass old Jay Hoover. Yeah, he's helping my daughter. Him and Heather with Red Cake Events. You ever heard of Red Cake Events? Her name's Heather. So those two are interning my daughter for the next. Oh man, don't make me lie to you. That's my wife. I'm gonna ask my daughter. It's Heather, but she runs Red Cake Events, and they're doing internships till December for my daughter, trying to teach her how to do hospitality, marketing, or management and tourism. She wants to be an event planner.
When we get really big, we'll let her come plan our events.
She's looking to move to Dallas. Man, she's already got a job offer at is it called the not the Mallory? It's the what's the one in Dallas? The big one, the Guillory? No, what's it called? Some big event center up in Texas. She went to Orlando or Washington School and did like a little summer internship there and learned and met a guy that runs some kind of big civic center in Dallas. Well, we're up to about 115. We're trying to get 250, so I'm sure we'll get some week out game day registration. Like we'll probably have a mad dash on that.
Yeah, we're also going back to talk to the running clubs again to remind them of the race and get signed up. And every day there's a few more each day. So
no doubt.
Like you said, you thought we were at.
Do you know who's running Live at 5 or who's? I mean, I think Jay Hoover runs it, right? And that is. Yeah. Oh, harass Jay Hoover. I'll harass him. He's got his third baby coming. That's crazy. Like you have 3 kids. What's wrong with you? 2 is the number.
Right.
October 17th, Eagle 98.1 is hosting that day, so Scott Robb will be on the mic.
Okay.
We'll harass him. You can make that connect.
I'm actually doing the week before and the weekend.
I'll go Jay Hoover to see what it is, but if you can connect me with Scott Robb and maybe we can get
I'm
Carrie
going
up
to
there.
show Condon show for sure.
Get me up there with Carrie and we can go and like I said, maybe make a impromptu scene at the Live 5 and hey, tomorrow's the Tunnel Towers run, y'all come out, blah blah. Maybe have a shirt or 2 hat we can throw out to the crowd or something like that. Some commercial shit.
Absolutely.
Sir,
Thank y'all very much.
Are you trying to lose weight or something?
No.
Thank you, man.
He's just wearing darker colors.
Just wear darker colors. That's not the point. Thank you.
Bye, man.
Over here blushing on
Later, y'all. Great to meet you, Carrie.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, pop in. All right. Anything else in the chat before I close out the show here? We'll see. Hey, send me a like a script or something so I can cut a promo and get that running immediately. $8:56 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. One segment to go before we hand off to Moon Griffon. Within and by the way, thanks to everybody who hopped on the show today. It's been a busy show. I mean, we just had Kyle and Carrie on right there from Tunnel to Towers. Moon popped by. We had Mary Beth from LABI talking about workforce development. We talked with Our Lady of the Lake about Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and then rolling back to the 6 o'clock hour, talk with Bill O'Reilly about his new book, Confronting Evil. It's been a busy show. If you missed any of it, it's on demand at talk1073.com, courtesy of the folks over at Lake Urgent Care. In fact, all of our on-demand content is brought to you by Lake Urgent Care. Our Facebook Live feed is brought to you by Lake Urgent Care, as is our YouTube feed. So you can check that out if you would like, if you missed any of it or just wanted to hear it again. We'll check in with the outside in just a quick second. Do need to remind you about the folks over at Louisiana. I'm sorry. Nope. Need to remind you about the folks. It helps to look at the list, doesn't it? Remind you about the folks at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. LandmarkBankLA.com. What they are at Landmark Bank is not just your run-of-the-mill bank. They're a community bank. What does that mean? That means you're not getting a bank. You're not just getting a bank. You're getting a banker. You're getting someone who you can sit down with and kind of map out your hopes, wants, dreams, and desires, and they can help you get there. They can one-on-one help get you there. Check out their locations at landmarkbankla.com. If you're in Brewley, if you're in Clinton, if you're in Zachary, if you're in Denham, or the full list is available over on the website. Check out their list of locations and then give them a call. Hit them up at their individual locations, landmarkbankla.com. This day in history, let's roll. Do I? Thank you for hitting the right button and not the button I called for, JP.
Right.
I called for what? This day in history?
Always listening.
I know. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's the outside in before we get out of here. Whew. You can tell I didn't have a weekend, huh? You've been hearing it in the news from our news partners, Louisiana Radio Network. Historic day in Southwest Louisiana. Breaking ground today on a $17.5 billion LNG project that will be built and operated by Woodside Energy Group. We've been reporting on this as it's been moving down the, if you'll pardon the pun, moving down the pipeline. The liquefied natural gas production and export facility in Calcasieu is called Louisiana LNG. Calcasieu Parish Police Jury President Judd Barris says that this is expected to generate significant economic growth.
This right here just adds to the reason why you don't have to leave here for a good job.
The Economic Development Department says the project will support thousands of jobs during construction, as well as thousands more once it's up and running. Barrios says Calcasieu is ready to put that workforce in line.
We've got a well-trained workforce. Nice has a Center for LNG Excellence. Sewella, the technical school here. Everybody's starting to gear up for these big projects.
We were in Southwest Louisiana a little over a month ago for the Legislator Conference, and I got to tell you, Southwest Louisiana is just, it's blowing up right now. They are in line to get this done. They do have the workforce ready, and they're just looking for wins on top of wins. That's going to do it for us. Moon's next. All right, I'm winded. All right, Facebook, we got a blast out of here. Monday morning meeting coming up, so we'll see y'all tomorrow.